Hello. Hi. I feel like I can't get the angle of this thing right, and it drives me insane. Hi. I'm wearing a dress, but I'm also cold, so I'm wearing a jacket. I am annoying. I ran errands today, and by ran errands I ran with my feet. I walked because gas is 6.45 a gallon near me. 6.19 was the cheapest I saw. 6.19. And it was not for the gas that I was getting. um, the last shipment is supposedly here. So who knows? That's why I went to go fill up. So I walked to go do my errands, and then I came back and I got my car and I went and put gas in my car just for emergencies. There is an event later this month that I am driving to. It's in the Bay Area. So driving to that should be interesting. We'll see how that goes. But driving is the only way the event made sense because flying was dumb. So it's like really cool how like everything's insane right now. Not to mention I'm masked everywhere I went. And yes, people did look at me like I was crazy, but you know what? I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care. Took a motorcycle class Saturday. I'm going to ride the bike until the gas goes down. Yeah, don't you still have to put gas in those things? Like, I know it's not the same amount of gas, but still. I'm sure they're probably more fuel efficient. Was literally talking to someone today who is looking for a new job because she can't afford the gas for her commute anymore. Yeah, it's great. Okay, so, for those who don't know, we've been doing a hantavirus check-in. The count I heard was up to 10 people that tested positive. So, remember, for those who don't remember yesterday, 2 Americans on the repatriation flight heading to Nebraska. 2 of them, I believe, are now in Atlanta. But the 2 people were sequestered from the rest of the passengers. Why? One was showing symptoms, and the other had no symptoms, but had a mildly positive test. Okay, which did lead to a lot of people commenting, "Yeah, my mildly positive pregnancy test turns 3 next week," which was a little funny, but not funny, because asymptomatic but a positive test. I don't know if you guys know this. That's not good, considering they believe that at least what the WHO has been saying is that you're not contagious when you're asymptomatic, or that like it wouldn't present until you're symptomatic. So that's not good, because that means that now so we're at the proper incubation period now for everyone that's getting off the boat. So it would make sense that we are still seeing people with cases from the original case versus other people that were on the ship. You know what I'm saying? So those people were sequestered. Now, I just see this on Twitter. This is from The Guardian. A French woman who tested positive for hantavirus after she was evacuated from a cruise ship reported symptoms to doctors on board, but was told it was probably just anxiety, the Spanish health minister has said. What? This whole thing is so baffling to me because the level of incompetence that we are seeing is fucking me up, okay? Like, it's really driving me insane. And then again, they're treating... How hard can it be to put, mask up? Be sure to wear a mask, in public, large gatherings, just do that. Put that on a fucking graphic, okay? Because the doctors and everyone working and moving these evacuees are covered head to fucking toe. They're in full biohazard gear, basically. So what's the harm in getting some people to wear a mask? And being contagious, wear a mask. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I ordered a lot of masks. I ordered my normal supply, and then I was like, I ordered also like the 100 packs, the cheap ones that are just like, they're disposable, but they're good for a couple of hours. I got one of those. N95s, the heavy duty ones, those are low quantity available right now. So I was able to get a pack of 10. That's about it. So. Hey Amanda, hey chat, how's everyone doing? We're talking about biohazard. Does Amazon sell biohazard suits? They sell the zip-up suits, yes. They don't sell the biohazard suits. I don't think they're qualified as medical. Also, be sure to check your... Hermes is barking. Be sure to check masks. A lot of them say non-medical. That is fun. Oh, I'm sorry. Explain JD won the Swell Grand Prix with Prime Boost. I'm so sorry, I just saw that. Hermes is barking. Just make sure if you buy one of the non-medical ones, I think you can double up and you should be fine. A lot of them are still very thick, but like it's basically like non-medical, I think I'm not certain, no one quote me. I'm fairly certain non-medical just means you cannot wear it in a hospital if you were working in a medical setting, is my understanding, okay? It should still do its job, but it's not like going to protect you from, if you're working in a hospital basically in close contact, okay? So just keep that in mind. Device industry, so got some good N95 masks. There you go. Hi, mods. I always get so stressed out when you guys say hi to the mods. I know you're just being polite, but sometimes I'm like, why? What you gonna do? Why are you saying hi to them? Because we have had some assholes come in, and then they're just like, hey, mods. How are you doing today? And it's because they did fuck shit the day before, Moonrise, you're fine. I'm just saying. I saw that and I was like, wait, who is it? Okay. Have you guys seen, okay, I don't even know which school this is, but there was a commencement speaker at a graduation ceremony, it looks like. And this is the only part of the clip that I've seen. She says, AI is the next industrial revolution, and everyone boos in the crowd. Obviously, they're about to enter the workforce. Of course they're booing AI. And then she turns and looks in the back like an admin, like, what's going on? And she's like, it is fascinating to think that just a few years ago, AI had no relevance in our lives or something like that. And everyone's cheering. Like, yeah, fuck AI. And she's still doing the back and forth. And someone pointed out, it's like, yeah, it's like, does no one realize everyone fucking hates you? Like, does no one get it? Like, if you're shilling out for the AI shit, especially to a room full of students that are graduating and entering into the workforce, you think they're excited about the advent of AI? Please. Hey, Anarchy. I'm gonna get you to ride the metro soon. I got my dad to ride the metro. You're next. You want some tea? Yes. Yes. No, Anarchy, you're totally gonna go. Why not? It's so fun. There's literally a stop in Little Tokyo. We can go to Little Tokyo. They're building a $200 million data center in the town next to me. Yep, everywhere. Anarchy. Ryan Tran's newest video is absolutely an undisclosed Disney ad. No, of all things, not Disney. Hang on. Ryan. Nope, I can't spell words. Ryan Trahan. There we go. Sounds so ominous. Don't think we'll view the Industrial Revolution positively. I tested every theme park at Disney World.
America is home to some of the most famous tourist attractions in the world. And I've been to all 50...
Hang on. He does have includes pay. It does have includes in this video. Okay, Joyride this. This is, whoops. No, Shopify is the sponsor. Hmm. Okay, well, reading the comments is not helpful. My old boss posted about saying how proud he was of the partnership and congratulated the people who worked on it, but Ryan mentions nothing. Also, he adds the VIP guide and doesn't mention the comp food in his hotel room. Ooh. Ooh, that's not good, Ryan. Especially because you have another... He probably... You know what? Probably because he got the other sponsor on there. Probably because he got the Shopify sponsor. And so he hid that partnership. Which, again, it's not illegal to have two partnerships, but you do have to properly disclose them, you know? Thank you, I was cold, so I put it on before the stream. Took the metro to Inglewood for a sports ball game, and well, it wasn't the best experience for me. I apologize, that does happen. And the reality is that the public transport does involve the public, and it can be negative. I mean, it'll only be a secret until they power on and you see the smoke streams that give them away. You'll hear it. No, you won't have to worry about the smoke streams. You'll hear it. Have you guys not heard how fucking loud the data centers are? How bright they fucking are from the light pollution? He never says thanks Disney for X, which is what I've seen most people do on similar things. Yeah, no, it's definitely probably an undisclosed partnership. At the very, again, is it, technically if it's gifted, he technically needs to disclose it. They can't, especially because of the value. But if it's not paid, he doesn't have to put the paid partnership label on it. I usually do, depending on the thing. So like Mahindra, okay, when I did my Mahindra partnership, I put the paid partnership label on there, even though they did not pay me. But they comped they paid for my travel, my accommodations, and obviously the access to their garage and the Emotions Club. They never paid me $1 though, but they paid for me and Colleen to go. So therefore, I put the paid partnership on there because I felt that was responsible for me to do, which I also disclose in the video. That's just me, though. And you guys know, I'm annoying. I also don't want to be audited. It sounds like a fucking nightmare. So I disclose everything. It's gifted. Minimum gifted and my old team is involved. Yeah. Then that, he might not feel... His team might have told him he might not have to disclose it. I think he should disclose it, because I think it's, especially for an event of that, a video of that amount, a partnership of that amount, I think you do technically have to disclose it. I took my boyfriend on the B red line for the first time last week, and it was a fun experience to show someone our underground system. Yay. Yeah, my dad was acting as if the D line was like, he was like Disneyland. It was kind of funny. He was like, this is really cool. I felt like a real internet historian, by the way, today on Twitter, because someone posted a video from before 2026 being like, what's going to be the 2026 Hantavirus quarantine version of this? Because it's a Visco Girl video. For these who don't know, Visco Girls were very popular while I was in college. And Visco is a photo app, but there was a type of girl that was put into this Visco Girl, like, archetype. And it was usually, like, a teenage white girl, okay? Usually had a Stanley Cup water bottle. They had scrunchies. They had a puka shell necklace. They were all about saving the turtles. You know, it was a whole thing. A lot of them played volleyball, okay? They all dressed like Emma Chamberlain from that era, okay? And I quote tweeted it and I said, this Visco Girl video predates 2020. And you know what? I feel like I did my duty as someone who has been online far too long. Is Visco not still a thing? I feel like it is. It's definitely not as popular as it was, Visco. Holy shit, Visco does not exist. No, it's Viscode is what they're trying to do. Hold on, Visco? No, Visco photo and video editor. It still exists. Plans for all photographers. Everything has a fucking membership now. There is a starter thing. Thank you for following. It does still exist. Sorry, when I typed in Visco, because AI sucks, it typed in Viscode, and it jumped to that. So it does exist. Capture. Yeah, it's a lot of the presets still. I never really got into Visco, but it does still exist. There's just everything has a plan attached to it now. It's wow, this feels like a relic. This is fascinating. I was so sure it went away. Nope, it did survive COVID. The Visco girls saved the turtles. Yes, they had the friendship bracelets they were always making. It was a lot. No, if anything, you know, the question is what's going to be the I want to be Tracer video of Hantavirus. I used to love Visco, now I use Afterlight. Ooh, I don't think I've heard of Afterlight. That's what I use for work. Someone brought up a good point on Twitter. Anarchy, at least once a stream, I talk about hantavirus because I'm stressed, because of course I am. I'm no epidemiologist, but it seems like the transmission and mortality rates for hantavirus do not take into account a mass disabling pandemic that left a huge portion of the population with immunodysfunction and one or more comorbidities. Good fucking point. A lot of people don't realize, I think, how much COVID like physically affected them. Some people do if they're getting regular genetic testing, like Brian Johnson, the guy that's trying to live forever. He acknowledges, because he was able to get the money to get his scans done, that he lost, like COVID aged his lungs by like 20 years or something for what was called like a brief infection period. And so there's a lot of people that are, you know, more immunocompromised now, even though they're like, oh, I survived COVID, I'm fine. You know, that was not a big deal. I wasn't that sick. It was minor, you know. And yet when they get the flu next time, you know, it's going to feel like it's, you know, beating the shit out of them. Or they just have like a minor cough all the time. I have that because I'm drinking this, and this always messes with my throat. I might be allergic to Diet Coke. I don't think I am, but I also could be allergic to Diet Coke, because that does not happen when I'm drinking Diet Dr. Pepper. So, oh, maybe. But also I get the same thing when I drink milk, and I have no reactions to milk, but it like, you know, it messes with your mucus layer. You know, it's like if you're a singer, you're not supposed to drink milk or eat cheese like a certain period before you sing to perform, because it can mess with the mucus layer of your throat. The milk thing is because you're white, Amanda. I mean, yeah. Okay, sure. Anyways, unsweetened almond milk for life. I have oat milk right now because it was cheaper at Costco when I went. And it's not unsweetened, and it's driving me insane. But I'm finishing it because I don't waste food. I used to get a cold dairy cough. Can you just be allergic to anything? I mean, you can develop allergies as well. There's also the reality of it's not uncommon for people to develop new allergies they didn't have, you know, when they were growing up, because your cells turn over. So like, that's where you find out people developing like a nut allergy when they're like 43 or something. Or there's like allergies that can develop from like tick-borne illnesses. Like apparently a large portion of people on Martha's Vineyard have tick-related, God, what's it called? It's where you literally become allergic to red meat. I literally was reading an article. God, what the fuck is the name of this thing? I was reading an article about this. You literally become allergic to red meat. Lone Star tick, is that it? They're selling chantilly cream with strawberries in it. Ooh, where? Oh, I want to go to Costco. Anarchy, let's go to Costco. Anarchy, it's at that point where we need to start rationing gas. I did put gas in the car today. We can do a group trip to Costco. Let's go. Okay, can we do tomorrow? Because I do have to stream. and I have to finish the edit. We'll figure out Costco tomorrow. Damn it. I'm live right now. You see, it's been less than 30 minutes, Anarchy. You don't go places with me all the time because you're streaming. You do that all the time. And when also allergic to artificial apple flavor, I immediately feel a vapor in my throat. You know what I've decided I'm allergic to? I'm not allergic to it, but I've decided because I'm so grossed out by the smell, I will puke. And it's because of my little brother. I hate Funyuns. I will never marry or live with someone who eats Funyuns and likes Funyuns because the smell of them grosses me out so much. It's disgusting. I hate them. That I'm gonna have to put on my prompt. I will not date you if you eat Funyuns. Like that is gonna be my barometer for like filtering people out. I thought about this the other day because someone was talking about how their partner like purposely buys things that they know she won't eat. And I was like, that's psychotic. And then I was like, God, what would it be? And it's like fucking Funyuns. Fucking Funyuns. If you get pregnant, can you be allergic to the child? Yes, you can get a rash. Yes, there is actually a rash that you can develop. What is the name of the rash? The girl with the list on TikTok has talked about this. One of a fairly well-known mommy TikToker. She had twins and then now I think just had another boy, I believe. She got, I think it's called something. It's not something. It's like they call it not diaper rash. What is it called? Pump rash, something rash. It's something like that, but it's basically, it's late stage in your pregnancy. Your body actually can become allergic to the baby, but your baby is still needing to be inside you. So your whole belly just gets like violently red and covered in rash welts. Technically, a baby is a parasite, like when you think about it, on the woman's body. So like it's feeding off of you. So you totally can't, like, that's why your teeth can fall out. Because which like technically you're not allergic to the baby when your teeth fall out. It's just like you are not getting enough calcium in your diet, and so it's taking it from your teeth. And your bones. You can have bone density problems after pregnancy. I can keep going. I gotta go text me for Costco. Okay, bye. They appealed to Funyuns. My brother was obsessed with them. I hated being in like on a road trip. And I'm already feeling car sick, okay, because I get motion sickness. And then my brother is just chowing down disgustingly on some Funyuns, and I'm like, I'm gonna throw up all over everyone. I'm gonna puke on everyone. No, I'm not. No, there's no Funyuns in this apartment. Never. The stream on a field trip to Costco, JK. Yeah, no, y'all are not finding out where my Costco is. I wish. There's only so many Costcos in Los Angeles. You know, you guys are not finding my fucking Costco, okay? Josh short of hers on YouTube last week, I think. There are cases of the baby biting the mom's nipple. Awful feeding! I'm ending the stream right now. Everyone shut up. Everyone shut up. I've never cringed harder. Oh my God. Everyone stay away from my boobs. No one come near my boobs. These are my nipples. Oh my God, I hate it. Oh God. I already have decided I'm adopting. I'm not getting pregnant. It's not happening. Oh. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna throw up. It almost just made me gag. Oh my God. It sucks up all your nutrients. Yep. Someone quote tweeted that French woman's thing, the woman who said she had symptoms, but they told her it was probably anxiety. Someone said the concept of having hantavirus on board the hantavirus cruise and getting told you have anxiety. Like, if... Now I know some men feel when they see someone getting hit in the family jewels, they do, yeah. I don't think this is exactly the same. Because if you've ever seen someone in labor, obviously, you know what? No, I think having a nipple bitten off by something that you brought onto this world is a different feeling and a different, like, the emotional, like, empathetic reaction to that concept is very different to one of your buddies nut shotting you. I think that's different. I don't think that's the same thing. I don't think these are comparable. I don't. Nipples do not grow back. They do not. Wait. No, they definitely don't. Do you know how many breast cancer survivors I know who have had mastectomies? Nipples don't just grow back. That's not a thing. I was like, wait a minute. For a second, I was like, let me Google this. And I was like, wait, no. Like, that's not a thing. You almost just had me fact checking that. And then I was like, wait, no, I have peer review evidence. I have firsthand experience witnessing that nipples do not grow back once they've been physically removed. That's what I thought. Okay, we're not lizards. It's just shave. What do you mean shaving off a nipple? What do you mean? What do you mean? Do you mean the duct for a nipple? There's still ducts in there, but even then, it's a bunch of holes. It's not like one hole. I'm sorry, I'm trying to explain this, but like I really am, sex ed is really stressing me out right now for y'all. What do you mean? What do you mean shave them off? What do you mean? I was thinking it was possible. My mom had breast cancers and hers didn't grow back. No, exactly. That's what Kamika. I was like, I know people who have had mastectomies. I was like, and they've had to take the whole nipple off. They've had no choice but to. Also, why are we shaving nipples? Exactly. I feel like Okay, do you mean like you've accidentally, while shaving your chest or something, taken a chunk off your nipple? Because then that would be a healed wound, okay? Doesn't mean it grows back. It means that the appendage healed the same way that, say, okay, here. I have a little divot right here. You can't see it, maybe, okay? But that's because I have a little, like, cyst or something that comes and goes. It's been gone for a while. It kind of comes and goes depending on the heat, if I'm working out, things like that. But I had to have it lanced off in 2020 because they were like, hey, could be cancerous, let's check it out. So they took it off, okay? The thing still came back here and there though, okay? But even though they literally physically took it off, but it's like, the reason it came and went was because it was not the actual like lump, it was the vessels underneath that were not taken out, you know, but the actual top of the skin was removed. Therefore it came back even though what actually is coming back is not the thing that was removed. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? The tube got clogged. Yeah, like it's like there's a bunch of like holes, like little baby holes. So if like you've ever, for the sake of science, I'm not pulling this up, but for the sake of science, okay, if you've ever actually seen a lactating nipple, okay, it's like a bunch of little dribbles coming out, okay? It's not like spraying one tube like a water gun, okay? It's like a bunch of little dribbles of milk coming out of the nipple. No, don't remind me. I have to at the same time. Trans people can have their nips removed and placed back on top surgery, but that's it. Yeah, but that's physically, they do the same thing with reconstructive surgery and things like that. Sometimes it's a tattoo, or with reconstruction surgery, they try to make the nipples look as natural as possible, but there has to be some type of like tissue removal and things like that. So oftentimes nipples lose sensation. They're not in the proper spot. Same thing goes, yeah, with top removal and things like that. Like sensation's probably going to be different because the nerve, if they remove it, it is severed. Okay. And so sometimes it's not always put on the best way. You could have multiple nipples grow because we have nipples tracks like dog. Yeah, you can have multiple nipples. Yeah, what is that thing that Harry Styles has a third nipple? It's actually pretty common for people to have third nipples. I don't have one, but I did grow up with quite a few people who did have like a random third nipple somewhere. Yeah, it didn't respawn, it essentially refilled, exactly. I love when straight men mess around with their wife's breast pump like they're being funny and find out men can produce a small amount of milk. They're always horrified. Men are mammals. The tattooed ones are incredibly realistic if the artist does it well. But it's still not going to have the same sensation, is my point. And then even then, like some people have a lot of sensation in their nipples and some people don't. Welcome to Sex Ed with Soul Entertainment. This is a great conversation. I'm not gonna lie. I'm continuing this conversation because I think it's important because someone thought that nipples could grow back. But also I am physically cringing in on myself because Twitter currently is having a debate. And it's like, there's a lot happening with the Twitter debate. I'm not weighing in on this on Twitter at all because one, I think Twitter's a hellscape, and two, I don't have something productive to add. People are going to say I'm fear-mongering. About pap smears for women. Because someone posted a TikTok that was like, oh, when I know I'm turning 21 soon and I'm going to have to get a pap smear or something. And then that led to a whole discussion and debate. And so I don't have anything to add to that. That would be productive because, yes, I am 28 and I have not had one. Why? Because when I went to go get one, I had a panic attack and every nurse acted as if they assumed that I had been sexually assaulted. And so they were like, do you have something you need to report to me? Like it was they assumed I was assaulted, but then were still being bitches about it. And that drove me fucking insane. And then I was like, no, I'm just scared. And it was like, oh, okay, the doctor's gonna walk you through everything. And then I walked in and I was still freaking out. And they must have told the doctor that I was freaking the fuck out. Because she came in and she was like, why are you freaking out? I was like, I'm not sexually active and I've never done this before and I'm fucking scared. What do you mean? What are you talking about? And she goes, how are you gonna have babies if you can't do this? So I walked the fuck out of there and I have not been back since. So one day I will. Yes, I know. I need to. Okay. But that was not positive. And that was before they even pulled out the fucking speculum. So, yeah, I'll go. I know, I'll go. I might be super high when I go in. I might have someone drive me and I'm just gonna be fucking stoned out of my mind to go get it done. But I'll get it done at some point. We'll figure out when. Oh, I would have tweaked. Yeah, I was living with my dad at the time, and I was like freaking out. And my dad like apparently told his therapist about it. It was like, oh, Amanda's like, because he would tell her when I was having panic attacks and things like that. And she like almost had him call me during this thing to be like, you need to have her reported immediately. But I did not. I should have, but alas. She's also the same doctor that when I went in for my acne, to get like just prescribe something because I didn't know what was going on. She opened the door and said, "Oh my God, your face. Is that why you're here?" So yeah, she's a cunt. She was awful. Had good doctors. Can't imagine what would happen if I had an awful doctor. Yeah, so like I don't fucking trust that psycho, you know. tell my mother, who was at risk of coronavirus being very, very bad, that the vaccines don't even work. Fun. Dude, okay, can I be totally fucking honest with you? Because I was around a lot of doctors because of Lisa and stuff, and a lot of other family members have dealt with sickness. Some of the most anti-vaccine psychos I have met were nurses while they were off duty. And I don't like that. That stresses me out. I don't like that at all. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I'm also very stressed about this hantavirus thing. It's like from personal experience and like dealing with healthcare people, I'm not going to sit here and say that they didn't fucking put their lives at risk. I don't blame anyone who was like, hey, I have kids. I can't be working. I'm a single parent with kids. I'm not going to be working this thing. I'm not going to blame anyone for that, okay? COVID was fucking scary. I get it, okay? I don't expect anyone to risk their lives. However, the way that some medical professionals with training threw shit out the window as soon as they were told they were able to stresses me the fuck out, okay? And we're seeing it again with COVID. I mean, not COVID, with hantavirus and how they're dealing with this little outbreak, okay? From personal experience. What the fuck is on? Why is everything on everything? This was in the washing machine. I dried this because I didn't want the hood to shrink, so I dried it on my my clothing rack. But for some reason, my dryer, my washing machine, like just, like this isn't dirt. It's just like other fluff from other things. It's annoying. But it's on the sweatshirt and it's driving me insane. Like this is clean. This is like freshly clean. Like you're in a building for 50 hours a week minimum. How could you hold this opinion bad? Yeah, I got a lot of why am I wearing a mask when going to the hospital for appointments last year, which is crazy because I don't know if anyone went to the doctors before lockdown. I did, okay? The amount of times, if I had a cough ever, guess what? And they'd slide the little box across the counter for the waiting room to make sure I wore a mask. That was pre-lockdown. That was during cold and flu season here in California, you know? But now it's like, why are you masking? It's your wrist, isn't it? It's like, fucking leave me alone, God. Time to vacuum the hoodie. I know. I didn't want to get any new lint rollers. I have one of those like clothing shavers, but it's not the same thing for like, all of my stuff does this, which is annoying. Which like, if I just take like a damp towel and like wipe it, it'll be fine. But it's just like, see, hang on, I see it here. Like, it's just like fuzzy residue from it's like lint. It's annoying. We all live to see another day, man. What the fuck? No, exactly. Sorry, I still can't believe I almost typed into Google, do nipples grow back? Like, that's one of those things where I'm glad I have the brain that I have. I do, I swear, okay? Because I do love that trust but verify, okay? I love it. But like the thought of doing that when I know people who have been through mastectomies and have had to have, what is it called when your nipples removed? There's also ones where they literally just take your nipple. But like, and surrounding tissue, but like the most of the rest stays. Like I've seen that and I'm like, that didn't grow back, obviously. So I'm like, what? Like I doubted my historical data of my own experiences for a second. Do, 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 do. The graduation speaker was Gloria Caulfield. She builds AI medtech partnerships for Travis Stock's Lake Nona development project. She told a room full of humanities students at UCF that AI was the next industrial revolution when their job prospects have been actively harmed by AI. Beaner chocolate. U.S. housing markets. Number of home buyers in market falls to historic lows. Home sellers now outnumber buyers by 630,000, the largest gap ever recorded. And someone said, I don't know if baby boomers realize they are in immediate physical danger. Or they want the AI bubble to burst. See, I don't know if a lockdown would help or hurt that. Like a true global pandemic. I really don't know. I don't know. Because you would think that there would put a pause on things, but also it would probably lead to another boom of data centers being built. They would use, a lot of schools would switch to AI for making lessons plans if it had to all go online again really quickly. I really don't know. So much AI psychosis, you're so right. The AI psychosis would be a big problem, I think. I mean, I'm already seeing things that were posted of like, I am searching up hantavirus, da 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 da. Like there was, someone showed a video or a post or something from Threads that was like someone, you know, just talking to chat about hantavirus. And I'm like, I don't like this. Felt like AI boomed during lockdown. It boomed. So ChatGPT, yes, but ChatGPT itself from OpenAI didn't launch until 2022, I believe. So it came later compared to what we classify as like lockdown. The pandemic obviously did not end, but you know, sorry, I'm seeing my mascara under my eyes and it's driving me crazy. I'm in a bubble. I'm trying to get into a ball when I also have a long skirt on, because this thing basically goes to like my ankles. Do 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 do. Did Trump sleep during another fucking event? Is he asleep again? Did he sleep during another... If someone else is talking, well, that man is asleep, no? Also, fuck you. Fucking Ted. Jesus. It's just during a mid-morning event. Like, it doesn't look like he's reading this. It looks like he's fully dozed off. Like, I don't know. Sorry, I just saw it again because I was like, there's no way there's a fucking another one. To notice these crowds behind him do all the talking about what's going to happen, and he's basically a mascot prop for them at this point. Well, yeah. Man's grave. Again, I'm outliving... The hantavirus can't kill me until he's gone. Ideally, until the rest of the cabinet's gone, but you get my point. No one's killing me. Not the hantavirus, not COVID, nothing. Let's see. We are swapping here. We're here. Oh, he's almost gone. He's been airlifted to the hospital frequently lately. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that's for his memory care injections for the whatever medication they're giving him. My friend's mom has dementia, and she gets, it's dementia or Alzheimer's, I believe. But he was telling me, it's like, yeah, Amanda, she gets the same bruising on her hand. It's where they put the injection port for her, the medicine. I was like, fine. She should all have meet and greet with the brave survivors of that cruise. You know what? You're so right. Interesting. Meanwhile, the do-nothing Dems are saying Project 2029 will be our plan and we'll put Trump and his family in prison. And it's like, we don't know. Yeah, we're not I would like action now. You know, I would like something done. Sorry, someone drew Gojo and Ghetto as Brosades. It's really funny. Democrats be like, give us more money and maybe we will do something about it one day. You know what? I think I've decided the first person to throw a punch. I think it's who I'm gonna vote for. I need someone who can scrap. That's who I need in the White House. Because I'm sick of this, you know. When they go low, we stay in our chairs. You know, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I need someone to start swinging. Yeah, stop telling us to be civilized. Exactly. Ooh, pretty. All right, I'm pulling up YouTube. I want to do learning video. I'm going to find a video and we're going to learn something. I want to learn. I'm picking something. Okay, this is a short, but we're gonna watch it. This is a short, but we are going to watch it. And then we will watch other videos because I am in charge. Gives me Cookie Monster PJ, but that's crazy. What I do like about this dress is that because it's cotton and stretchy, I can in fact sit crisscross applesauce in it and you still don't see anything. Ha 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 ha. You can't see anything to begin with, but ha ha. Okay.
Sturdy sheep fleece into beautiful handspun yarn just like this.
Yarn.
You got your hands on a sheep fleece and you're like, what do I do with it? First things first, assess what you have. What do you got in front of you? I have a Gulf Coast native fleece. This is going to be a medium type fleece. Not super oily, a pretty nice staple length. I always like to start by cold soaking my fleeces because I think it saves a lot of work.
Hermes is the troll goblin that eats my food and doesn't pay rent. But he like lives in the garden. Like he like asked me to pay riddles whenever I pass. But I'm like, I can't evict him because, like, he's tiny, you know?
During the hot scouring process, which is the step right after this. So after it cold soaks, we got to get the lanolin off with some hot water.
Lanolin.
That's kind of the most intensive process, but once the fleece is clean, yes, it looks a lot nicer, and you can just fluff it up and spin from the cloud, but a lot of people like to go further when it comes to preparation. So before they turn it into a yarn, they might put it through something like this, which is a drum carder. You can use hand carders, you can use hand combs, you can use hackles. These will all give you different styles of preparation. I really love my drum carder. It's a classic drum carder by Paul Britton. I just think it's one of my favorites, and as you can see, you feed in the fiber and then you just, blend it onto the carder. Before I turn it into yarn, I do like to blend in some different colors and mix-ins to just make it a little bit more interesting to spin. And here's one example of the roving that I made. So this is what I'm going to spin up. This one's called Florida Swamp Fairy. I also made a few other blended bats to spin from as well, like this teal one. And then I spin it up on my spinning wheel into yarn, just like this. Shape to skein projects like this are some of my favorites. What color should I blend up next?
Okay.
How I turn this...
Let's see. So I was in the new to you section. Let's see. Ooh. This is World of Interiors. They might get mad at me, but we're gonna watch it. For some reason, Castle Interiors, they always clock my ass, at least on YouTube. I love a shot like that. Yes, show me what it looks like in different daytimes. Daylightings. The way this could never exist like this in California. We have too many earthquakes. There's not enough museum putty in the world to make a room like this safe. All it would take is 1, 2.5, and at least one thing is falling and taking out 7 things with it. You know what I'm saying? That's a painting? Oh, this is a fantastic designed hallway. Look at this. I fully thought that was a window when he was walking. Chat. I was like, wow, that's crazy. They got those little ships out there. That's so well done, this framing. Is this the sunset lines coming in? Is that the sunset coming in through blinds? That's stunning. Okay. Ooh, this could be good. 20 missing kings no one can remember. We are learning.
I don't like talking about mysteries that don't have an answer.
That's what makes them a mystery, though. That's a bird.
Even with some of my most obscure topics, there have been at least 1 or 2 solid theories. Some have had modern papers written about them, with others I've had to make do with articles from 50 years ago. But not this time. This time, there's nothing. This is Llyn Tegid, or Bala Lake, formerly known as Pimble Mere in English, a name so disgusting I find myself glad that it fell out of use. It's a part of Wales in the UK today, but 1,000 years ago this wasn't the case. Back then, various local kingdoms vied for control over this area, and over Wales, and you'd expect this lake just to be another battleground for wealthy autocrats to throw themselves at.
Do you guys want to watch The Mystery of the Missing Medieval Plague after this and really get us in the mood for our impending doom?
But recently I found something very odd, something that almost no one has ever even mentioned before. Kings. 20 of them, who are all attached to this area and whose names have never ever been mentioned before or since by almost anyone. It seems that this small piece of land nestled amongst the mountains of Wales may have been home to its own independent rulers, their own veritable kingdom of the lake, until they completely vanished from history, leaving behind a mystery that is, to this day, completely unsolved. These are the 20 forgotten kings of the lake.
Sick. I'm in.
We should start with the most concrete source of information. Around the year 988, a big list was compiled, which is always exciting for me. This document listed the genealogies of a bunch of kings of the Britons, both contemporary and extinct, including rulers from Scotland, England, and the majority being from Wales. These ancestries weren't recorded for purely altruistic purposes, though. Instead, several kingdoms had their creations tied to the ancestors of the kings of Gwynedd in North Wales, who, in a shocking coincidence, were the ones compiling this document in the first place. But this doesn't matter to us today, because we're only curious about the 21st set of names on this list. Some of these men have ancestries allegedly stretching back to the 5th century, to when the Roman legions withdrew from Britannia. They claim descent from emperors and kings, famous figures and mythological heroes. But not this guy. Meirion ap Lleiddogu, the shortest and most mysterious genealogy out of any of them. No one else is recorded like this, just a king and his father. It's bizarre. Even stranger is that this name, Lleiddogu, is completely unique. It's not found anywhere else, not just outside of this manuscript, but nowhere outside of this tiny sentence. But while these aspects are strange, we can draw a few conclusions. Meirion must have been a king, as that's what these genealogies were recording, but we don't yet know where he ruled. He must also have been alive before their composition, obviously, which was around the late 10th century, but we can't be certain if he was
I'm kind of obsessed with this sketch. This is a sick sketch.
still living when his brief ancestry was recorded. This document does preserve the heritage of contemporary kingdoms, but it also included the lineages of several places in Wales that had already been conquered by the 10th century. And that's it. 2 names, no concrete place, no proper date, and for one, there isn't even another record of someone else with his name. On its own, it's too mundane to be a mystery, too short to spark an interest, and it's no surprise that I could only find one modern historian, Peter Bartram, that ever even bothered to mention them, and that was over 30 years ago. But that's not everything. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here talking about it today. Because these 2 men do appear in one other manuscript, and they're joined here by 18 other equally bizarre names.
One of Pillin? Okay.
This is the Hanessen Hen,
It's
the
giving
old
third
story,
grade PowerPoint
also known more
project
straightforwardly as the Llywelyn ab Iorwerth genealogies, and they contain a very interesting bit of information. Under the label Gwyhelydd Penllyn, we can find Meirion ap Lleiddogu again, along with 18 of their ancestors, none of which you have to remember.
Why not?
Coed, Doned, Tidwal, Ednaved, Brochwel, Dovanwal, Dainiog, Cadwr, Pibir, Caper, Piter, Estader, Pandulf, Cundulf, Govlung, Beblich, Silbich, and Pebid Penllyn.
Penllyn. Got it, boom. Stream person, hi, we're learning.
This finally gives us a location, Penllyn, the head of the lake, which was the name for the area of land around Llyn Tegid. It also gives us a grand total of 20 names, 14 of which are completely unique to this lineage. Unfortunately, that's pretty much it. What you can see here is the sum total of what's been left behind by these men, published in this case by a 19th century book with the longest name I have ever seen.
Is there really nothing? Can we scan the ground?
Contains
really
2
nothing?
etceteras.
Etc.
We can hypothesize then that Meirion, son of Lleiddogu, was a king in Penllyn sometime prior to the end of the 10th century. He was important enough to record, but it doesn't seem like any of his ancestors were, as the kings of Gwynedd just listed his father. This seems to suggest that Meirion's
The mystery is that everyone really didn't like their vibes.
rule was relatively recent then, as unlike his neighbours, his ancestry didn't stretch back to the 5th century. It instead stopped quite abruptly. We can see something similar in a neighbouring kingdom with another short genealogy, Rhifyniog, who only have 5 listed kings. What's different about them though is that although their kingdom was conquered, their royal family continued to persist, and a famous 12th century poet named Gwalchmai claimed descent from them through his mother, allowing the historian Bartram to theorise that their final king was likely alive during the composition of the Harleian genealogies, allowing him to cautiously estimate that Rhifyniog's first king then must have been born by about 830, which, as I said, would have made their kingdom very new at the time. We cannot confidently say if this was the case for Meirion of Penllyn, because we can't confidently say almost anything about him. All we can conclude from the sources that he very likely existed, that he was independent, contemporary or near contemporary to the end of the
when I'm gone, I want you guys to say Swell Entertainment very likely existed. It's like we know she existed. We have all these no. You know, we can't be certain, but you know we can say she very likely existed. I'd be cool with that.
The 10th century, and that he probably ruled in Penllyn. Based on how short his ancestry is, we could theorize that his kingdom was relatively new, and there is precedent for that. But that's it. In 1993, the historian Peter Bartram became the most recent person to mention this line of kings, and for almost all of them he
Line
had
of
only a
princes in
single
Penllyn.
sentence to say, describing them as a member of an otherwise unknown line of princes in Penllyn. I had hoped that after 32 years someone would have also covered them, but I couldn't find anything. Not for the kingdom, not for the dynasty, and not even for individual members. Today I have the privilege of this title, the most recent person to cover Penllyn, and honestly during my research I probably earned the accolade of most recent person to think about the kings of Penllyn too.
Nope.
If you want
now
to
it's
hear
me.
about strong
Haha.
conclusions, then you've already heard them all. Until a new source of information like a new manuscript is discovered, this is all we can ever confidently
I'm on it.
say about the kings of Penllyn, that at least one of them existed. And that was originally where
Listen, this is the old school sovereign citizens when you think about it. Like technically, like America has quite a few kingdoms inside of it, if you count sovereign citizens that have deemed the land of their home as a kingdom.
I was going to end the video. However, if you're in the mood to speculate, there are a few less confident bits of information to be.
Yeah, because see, would this classify as... No, this wouldn't classify as prehistory. Prehistory is typically referred to as things that we have found that have existed, but it's existed before a time that we actually had language. So like Gobekli Tepe, I believe that's how you say it. That's not... I butchered that pronunciation. But like that site is so old that like it's like technically prehistory is how it's classified. Yeah, early Middle Ages, no, exactly. That, so this would not be classified as prehistory because we do have language. It's just not found, you know?
Be found.
Speculation. To speculate, to mince, to become crumbs.
There are two theories we can work with, where this lineage might have come from and where they might have gone, and both of these questions can help us ask the ultimate one. Who were these forgotten kings of the lake?
See, this is
As I
the problem with me. Cause like now my brain is like going. Like with this, I'm like, I can find out more. I logically can't, you know? But I'm like, no one's looked the way I would look. Therefore, I should get money, and therefore I should go look at the lake. And I will find proof. I will find a manuscript. I will find something.
As I mentioned, none of these men have anything much written about them. All I could find during my research were Bartram's notes and nothing else. In fact, the majority of these names don't even occur anywhere else. There is something, though, about the first king in this list, Pebyd Penllyn. And what's curious about him is the similarity between his name and the name of his lake, Llyn Tegid. This lake was allegedly named after Tegid, who was supposedly an old, bald king of the area until his land got flooded, potentially by a local saint that forgot to cover the magic well. A classic mistake that I'm sure we've all made. Now, the names aren't that similar, but they're close enough for me to wonder if this was supposed to be Tegid. This man was a notable figure in mythology. He was supposedly the ancestor of the patron saint of Wales, and he was a historic king of Penllyn. It makes sense for another king in the area to claim descent from him, especially if his name is on the local lake, so did they?
Yeah, you could just
Did
claim
Marion
shit.
originally claim descent
Back
from
then.
Tegid,
This is what
only
the
for it to
internet
become
took from you.
corrupted over the centuries
You
into
also could be the
Pebyd?
king of a lake.
This entire list is so unusual that I don't think it's impossible, it's just absolutely not certain. If this was the case, then the 13th century genealogy would seem to claim that Marion of Penllyn descended from the oldest kings of the area, which would make sense and is basically the whole idea of making a genealogy like this, adding legitimacy and antiquity to your lineage, and in this case directly attaching yourself to the landscape. One point against Pebid being Tegid, though, is that none of Tegid's descendants are listed, so it would just be him and an otherwise unknown and unmentioned son called Silbech, which is a noticeably weaker and weirder claim. Although, there is something strange here, because Mavion didn't make this claim. It was recorded centuries after his rule, and his genealogy just stopped at his father. So that leaves us with one final theory. If Mavion didn't make this claim, then who did?
Well, see, I feel like there is instances where it's like, yeah, hey, that's your real dad, but I'm a maid, so therefore you don't have a line to the throne. Like there's probably there's definitely things like that, and so then it's like, if you just, it took so long to get around, it took so long to communicate. You can't call up, the nation to the north easily and be like, hey, this guy over here is claiming to be the prince, the crown prince. He's been on a journey for 20 years. He's back now. You can't really call that up. You kind of have to be like, okay, I've never heard of you, The exact same in England, I think, yep. It would be so funny if this whole thing was bullshit, but like it had prevailed. Like let's say there is the hypothetical that this whole lineage of this land was bullshit, but it was prevalent enough at the time that it was documented at all. You know what I'm saying?
Bartram only had a single sentence to say about almost all of these men, and that's because Marion has one more bit of odd information attached to him. In a version of his genealogy from the 16th century, his name comes with an asterisk, claiming that he was also known as Blythe Rhys of Guest, a revelation that likely means nothing to anyone. Blythe Rhys, the Red Wolf, was the father-in-law of an 11th century king in North Wales, and the ancestor of a wealthy and powerful landowner named Rhydd Vlaith of Penllyn. This would seem to link these two figures then. A nobleman of Penllyn descended from the old kings of that area, but there are two problems. Firstly, Blythe Rhys of Guest lived in Guest, which is over here, part of the earth-spanning region known as not Penllyn. Secondly, since he was the father-in-law of an 11th century king, Bartram has estimated his birth to have been by about the year 1000, making it difficult for him to have been alive and ruling by 988, if not much earlier. Because of this, Bartram has deemed this connection unlikely, but as I've said, we can hypothesize. Because luckily for you, I've read through many of these noblemen's ancestries before, a hobby that makes me really fun at family gatherings, and a lot of these texts are very strange. We can find pedigrees with duplicate names, pedigrees that combine several men with the same name into one. We have lists that fuse
ye old polycule. No, I'm kidding.
brothers together, and ones that claim two brothers were born 200 years apart. Not to mention ones that miss out on whole generations, such as this example here. Llywelyn, Lord of Escerydyn in Ceredigion, which is the pedigree I want to focus on. Llywelyn attaches himself to an old king of Ceredigion, although he spells his name incorrectly. But what's odd is that he only does this in 5 generations, meaning his ancestry, according to him and this very text, bridged nearly 4 centuries with only 5 men.
In Central Eastern Europe at
Coupled
the time,
with this, the remainder of his ancestors don't match the kings of Ceredigion at all. It's a jumbled and odd mess, but these errors are not even close to being unique, which
I'm obsessed with, look at the mood! I love artwork like this. Look at the reflection on the water. God, it's beautiful.
Brings me back to Rhydd of Penllyn.
Rhydd of Penllyn. This whole video is just me trying to pronounce these names.
Bartram said that Marion of Penllyn being the same man as Blythe Rhys was unlikely, and for a very good reason. But there's also a reason why it's not impossible. As I already mentioned, this is pure speculation for speculation's sake, theorizing because there's nothing else concrete to say, but you're in too deep to go back now.
Yeah.
As we've seen, these genealogies can be such a mess that it's not entirely out of the question that by the 16th century, there were a few generations lost between Blythe Rhydd, father-in-law to an 11th century king, and Marion of Penllyn, a monarch from the 10th century or earlier. This genealogy claims they were the same person, but Blythe Rhydd could have just been a descendant. If that were the case, and that's a big if, then these connections and ancestries would at least appear to have a reason for existing, something that my son has yet to achieve. Rhydd Blythe was a powerful landowner in Penllyn, descended from a man that a 16th century manuscript claimed was the last recorded king in the area. They could just be wrong, it wouldn't even be slightly surprising if they were, but perhaps they were just mistaken. Maybe the reason...
Yeah, see, that's the thing. How often were they wrong? You know, like that's, we look at so many, I watched a really good video from someone talking about like letters, and it's like, oh, well, this is treated as a first-hand account. It's like, okay, well, should a letter or a diary entry be treated as a first-hand account when, you know, we have to think about like, okay, did they know that they were documenting history? Were they suspicious that someone was reading it? Who were they writing to? What were they writing about? You know, things like that. And like, how does that impact, you know, the validity of, for lack of a better word, of these letters or these diary entries and things like that. But then yes, in text like this where it's like, oh yes, that's so-and-so's boy, be sure to jot that down. You know, how often did that happen and that person was just fucking wrong, you know? But now that's become matter of historical record.
Marion's genealogy expanded in the century after Rhydd's existence was because he made an effort to attach himself through his mother to the old lineage of the region, and perhaps to Tegid, the mythological king of the lake. We have no concrete proof of this, of course, but many, if not almost all, of the other ancestries of medieval Welsh noblemen follow similar patterns to this. Missing generations, incorrect spellings, or entirely different names, men being fused together, famous figures being ripped through time to become their ancestor. They have it all. Which makes me curious if the origin for all of this, for every expanded detail that added to the shortest and most mysterious genealogy in medieval Wales, was for a powerful nobleman in Penllyn to attach himself to this lake's erstwhile kings, whether through a genuine historical connection or just through pure invention. Either way, these obscure details eventually suffered the fate of almost all of history, falling through the cracks of time, leaving absolutely nothing behind, and winding up as no more than an asterisk in a text published centuries later. I may have been the most recent person to talk about the kings of Penllyn in over 30 years, and perhaps I've become the most recent person to think about them too. But if I've done my job properly, then I've lost that second title to you today.
Thank God the bird transition happened 5 seconds.
We have absolutely no idea who any of these men were. We have no clue if 18 of them even existed at all. We don't know if they were genuinely connected to a powerful landowner in the area, if their descendants lived on through the noblemen of North Wales, or if these connections were just drawn up.
That's AI. We're not touching that one. Ooh. I get to be upset about extinct animals. Maybe a whale so
When
badly.
scientists...
I want to travel so badly, but you see, old people can't wear a mask because they might have contracted a deadly rat virus. So, who knows when I'm going to get to do that.
First began recording species, they had to draw them.
This is so cool.
Old
Look at
biology
that hippo.
art
You guys
is
can't
possibly
hold on,
my favorite thing.
I want to show you guys the hippo. Look at the hippo. Look at him. That's actually a really good rendition of a hippo.
That exists, mostly because it was often so horribly inaccurate. In the early 1800s,
I'm sorry, the rhino. I'm obsessed with rhinos. Sorry. That's sick as fuck. That is cool as hell, actually. See, okay. Animated show, talking animals, but this design for all the animals is based off of first depictions of those animals. Okay, so like rhinoceroses actually have like actual armor. Giraffes look like they are carved with brick. Okay, lions have crazy beards and then like scarecrow hair. Okay, what's this one? Is this supposed to be we got snakes. Snakes look like crazy things. This would be fun.
Because it was often so horribly inaccurate.
That's an elephant? I'm sorry, that's funny as fuck. Okay, never mind. I keep my idea. My idea is still the same. They all look like this. This is an elephant. That's amazing.
In the early 1800s, the camera was invented.
This is the first photo of an animal. I don't think I've ever seen this before. That's really cool. Medieval plague mystery. Yes, we can do that next. But first, let me get upset about extinct animals, please. Okay.
And animal documentation changed forever.
That's so cool.
Over the past 200 years, many photos have...
Wait, didn't we just find one recently? No. No, we saw something similar. That's right. Okay, they thought this was extinct. It is extinct, but like there was something that looked very similar.
Been
that some
taken
people
of
thought
animals
may have been another
that are no
sighting,
longer
I
with
think.
us. In today's video, we're going to take a look at some of these photos and
As
hear
there's no
about how these
copyright?
species were tragically lost.
Just their photos.
Welcome back to All About Nature. On my channel,
friends
I
use
try to
medieval
bring
paintings
nature-related
for
content
Game
that's
Jam
both
art assets
educational
one, and it looked
and
really cool.
entertaining.
Ooh.
If you like this type of content,
All
then
about
please consider
nature.
liking the video, leaving a comment, or even subscribing to the channel.
Okay,
I really appreciate your support.
cool. You're welcome. I'm really helping right now. Tulachi wallaby.
The two-lake wallaby
That was
stood
wrong.
a little under a
Two-lake
meter tall
wallaby.
and inhabited
Me.
grasslands
Me trying to pronounce every single ch.
in southeastern Australia. This elegant and beautifully marked species was described in 1846,
Little
but sadly, due to the rapid human expansion in the area at the time, the species was reduced to drastically low numbers by the 1920s.
Damn.
In an attempt to save the species, 14 of the last known animals were rounded up for a breeding program. Sadly, 10 of the 14 died as they were being captured, and only 4 made it into the zoo.
We really fuck a lot of things up, you know? You know?
They were last officially seen in the wild in 1924, though some sightings persisted into the 1970s. And the last captive animal died in 1924.
Ugh.
This is the last picture of the species in captivity. A lone female.
Ugh.
This subspecies of the plain zebra was totally unique in its markings. Instead of being covered in stripes, the
Ah.
quagga stripes were restricted to the front half of the body. And instead of being black and white, the quagga was brown and white,
Quagga.
with a white belly and white legs.
That's sick.
It only lived on the southern part of the African continent, preferring grasslands and arid interior scrublands. Dutch and British colonists ruthlessly hunted the species, believing it to be more abundant than it was. This is one of the last images of the quagga, taken at the Amsterdam Zoo. When she died in 1883, it was seen as a small issue.
A small.
The zoo simply requested a new specimen be caught. But they didn't realize that the last wild quagga had died about 5 years earlier.
I'm sorry, that just the spike of rage that just went through me. Okay, can someone just catch another one? Hi. Can you just hop on over to the grocery store and grab us some more bread? Like I. Also, one of the things that killed the passenger pigeon, I'm sure.
And with the loss of this Amsterdam specimen, the quagga was gone forever. Today, there are efforts to breed the quagga back into existence.
Passenger pigeon. You summoned them.
Perhaps one of the most iconic American extinct species, the passenger pigeon went from being the most numerous species of bird on the entire planet
That's insane.
to extinct in only a few decades. With European settlers expanding rapidly through the eastern part of North America and clearing the forests the birds relied on, things were already rough for the species. But add to that excessive commercial hunting practices, and the passenger pigeon didn't stand a chance. This is Martha, the last passenger pigeon, and her photo was taken in 1914. With her death, the passenger pigeon was gone, and the ecosystems of the United States would never be the same again.
That's insane.
I also made a video about the passenger pigeon, which you can check out by clicking the banner at the top of the screen.
Oh, the Carolina. Miss Blue Skies, I think we can just assume that everything you're going to bring up is in this video. Wait, play.
To go extinct is the Carolina parakeet. It was the only indigenous parrot species on the plains of the continent, and there is evidence that it used to even stray into southern Canada. These gregarious birds likely used to number in the millions, and they fed on fruits and seeds, especially the seeds of the cocklebur plants.
Cocklebur.
The seeds of cockleburs are toxic, and evidence suggests that by eating these seeds, the parakeets themselves became toxic, causing predators such as house cats to die from eating them. Evidence also shows that the species had been declining naturally since the end of the last ice age. And by the time Europeans arrived and destroyed eastern forests, the birds had become restricted to Florida. While they were regularly hunted for their feathers and for the pet trade, ultimately their extinction is a mystery. In 1896...
Sorry, that was so... Like, I understand feathers, birds, taxidermy, and fashion. I understand that is a thing that has been going on for... It's also very common at this time. But that, just seeing the... Yes, we're talking about the extinction, and here's a whole dead bird on this woman's hat.
A relatively healthy population was noticed that was flocking and producing offspring. But by 1904, they were essentially gone.
Jeez.
This picture of the last captive Carolina parakeet named Incus is from 1900. Amazingly, Incus was kept in the same cage that Martha had been kept in, who was the last passenger pigeon. And
I know what would need to be done. I would take out the person that needs to be taken out. I would find a way. I would destroy the timeline. Yeah, I don't know what would happen, but I would destroy that timeline. I would do the thing that needed to be done to prevent World War II. Okay, I would do what needed to be done.
Incus died in 1918, only 4 years after Martha.
By her sheer rage, cursed rage, yeah. Paradise parrot. Lots of birds.
Speaking of parrots, one of the most strikingly marked was the paradise parrot of Eastern Australia.
Is crazy.
These beautiful birds lived in pairs or in small family groups, and they nested in termite mounds. Being that the species was never extremely common, and due to how remote much of its habitat was, the species' demise is a bit of a mystery. It could have been from cattle grazing, or from land being burned. It could have been hunted for the pet trade, or preyed on by cats and dogs. We'll never know for sure, but following a drought in 1902, the population had practically vanished. This picture of a paradise parrot was taken in 1922. It's a photo of a wild bird as it enters its nest. Sadly, the last official sighting of the species was in 1927, only 5 years after this photo was taken.
In an archive, like they have thousands of preserved parrot bodies in some vault. The Barbary lion.
The Barbary lion was considered a distinct
I love the
subspecies of
Barbary
African
lion.
lion that lived in the desert regions of northern Africa. These lions, being found for millennia near some of the biggest epicenters of human civilization, were persecuted relentlessly by people. These are likely the lions that were used for fighting in ancient Rome. They would have inspired the Egyptian goddess Sekhmet. They are the lions of the Bible and the Quran. But immense fear of the
Even
lions,
today, in
coupled with
large
the
part
fact
because
that
they hunt
killing
for
one was
sport,
viewed as a
not
great
food.
sign
So
of
they'll just
strength and
ravage
bravery,
ecosystems. Keep your
meant
cats
that
indoors,
humans
folks.
often killed them as
No,
fast
they don't
as
need
they
outside
found them.
time. Yep.
Despite this, the Barbary lion persisted into the 20th century. But with the widespread introduction of firearms to the region and bounties for the lion, the last of them was shot and killed in the 1960s. This image, taken from an airplane as someone flew over the Atlas Mountains, is often considered the final photo of the lion, and is particularly compelling because of its beautiful composition. But amazingly, the subspecies is no longer believed to be extinct. Recent genetic research has shown that the Barbary lion is actually part of a single clade present across North Africa, the Middle East, parts of Southern Europe, and Asia. And today, a small population of Asian lions survives in India.
Bubble hartebeest.
The Bubal hartebeest was
Bubal
the
hartebeest.
first hartebeest described by science. While it is now known to be one of 8 subspecies of hartebeest, it was described in 1766 and was distinguished from the other subspecies by its uniform sand-colored fur, which it used to blend into the deserts of northern Africa where it once lived. And their main predator was the Barbary lion. The antelope declined quickly in the early 1800s, especially after the French colonized Algeria in the 1830s. Whole herds were shot and killed. Over time, the species disappeared from much of its range before the early 1900s, when the Bubal hartebeest could only be found in Algeria and Morocco. In 1917, a herd of 15 animals was located, but the man who located them ended up shooting and killing all but 3 of that herd. This is the last picture of a Bubal hartebeest,
Look at
and was
him!
taken in the Paris Zoo in 1923. The last known wild specimen was shot and killed in Morocco only 2 years later, and the subspecies was gone.
The Caribbean monk seal. So this is one of the reasons
The
people
Caribbean
were so
monk
pissed
seal was the
about
only
that
species of
guy
seal
throwing rocks at the
native
monk
to the
seal
Gulf
in
of
Maui.
Mexico. The species was once relatively common throughout its
Look
range.
at their faces!
They would congregate in groups of around 30 individuals, though they were observed in groups of up to 100 at times. They fed on fish and crustaceans, were sluggish on
Welcome in,
land,
lunch. I'm
and
just
had generally
yelling
curious
at
dispositions,
humanity.
even around people. All of these factors would be their downfall. Their prey was overhunted, leaving less food to support their populations. They were easily attacked and killed on land, as it was hard for them to escape. And their curiosity of people just made it easier for humans to hunt them. They were targeted mainly for oil produced from their blubber, and they were regularly eaten. They were hunted so much that by the 1850s they were already hard to come across. In 1886, a scientific survey found a large number of seals living around a small set of islets. They killed 42 to send to museums around the world. Today, only 2 of those museum specimens survive, both in the UK. This is one of the last pictures of the species. It's one of 4 monk seals acquired by the New York Aquarium. This is another photo of the same group of seals. In 1952, the last confirmed sighting of the species occurred off the coast of Colombia. It has never been seen since.
The golden toad.
The golden toad was only
Look
ever
at that
found
horn,
in one
Jesus.
small patch of rainforest in the mountains
Borderline
of Costa
papaya.
Rica. It was discovered in 1966, and every year the species would gather in huge numbers at
For
mating
their blubber.
season.
Mm-hmm.
In 1987, a normal population of toads was counted during the breeding months.
Why
These
I
pictures
oughta look
are
at
one of the
this.
last healthy gatherings of the species. Unfortunately, in 1988, scientists only recorded 10 or 11 toads. Finally, in 1989, only one male toad was seen. Searches for the species would continue through the 90s, and in 2004, after an expedition to search for the species, the golden toad was officially declared extinct. One factor that's believed to have contributed to their extinction was a major drought in the area in the late 80s, but also the arrival of the amphibian chytrid fungus to
Yep.
Costa Rica, which played a major part. It thickened the toad's skin, causing their systems to shut down and ultimately killed them.
Hate that. Gastric brooding frog.
Gastric brooding frogs are extremely unique. There were two species. One, the northern gastric brooding frog, and the other, the southern gastric brooding frog. Both are found only in extremely small ranges in eastern Australia. They are the only two species of frog in the world known to raise their young inside their stomachs. Discovered in the 1970s, it was only a decade later that they both disappeared. These are some of the only images of the species. They gained international notoriety for this picture. But just like the golden toad, it's believed that the amphibian chytrid fungus ultimately wiped them out. Though deforestation, habitat disruption, and introduced species probably also played a role.
Hate it.
Interestingly, they're
That's
part of a project
crazy.
that seeks to bring them back through a process called de-extinction.
That's crazy.
And that's it for today's video.
Okay.
Perhaps you were waiting for the thylacine or ivory-billed woodpecker, but I made videos about both of them recently.
Recently. All right. New to me. Do 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 do. What were we gonna look up? Mystery plague. Mystery plague. This was the one.
Early 12th century,
Ah!
before Llywelyn was recorded in the annals lands of North Wales. We're told that he took his throne with fire and swords, that he
Rat.
terrorized his own countrymen and regularly invaded his neighbors.
You did a transition of them into a rat.
We're told that he coveted his nephew's wife, but after being reminded of her vows to her husband and his vows to his own wife, he decided to accelerate the whole process of till death do us
We're
part.
falling.
We're told that he was powerful and malicious, generous yet sinful. He granted lands to several of his churches, yet featured as a glorified supervillain in several saints' biographies. It is fitting then that his reign was ultimately cut short by the deadliest warrior humanity has ever faced. You know his name, you've heard his stories. I'm talking about, of course, disease. This king, Maelgwn, nicknamed Dragon of the Island, ultimately met his match with a plague which had never been recorded before or since. The dragon was not slain by a hero, but was instead just another death to one of the most mysterious diseases in all of human history, one that apparently fell completely out of the historical record, leaving no clues, never to be seen again. This is the mystery of the missing plague.
The fucking plane. The fucking plane.
Medieval Wales was no stranger to disease. In the 6th century alone, we're told about 3 different afflictions in the country. One in 526, one in 537, which was shared across Britain and Ireland, and finally, the one we're interested in today, in 547. According to the biography of St. Taylor from the 12th or 13th century, this disease was known as pestis flava in Latin, the yellow plague. a name it apparently acquired by turning anyone affected with the disease yellow and bloodless. The author tells us that it appeared to the people of Wales as a column of watery cloud, with one end sweeping across the ground and the other stretching far into the sky, and that this disease-bearing cloud took the life of King Maelgwn and ravaged his kingdom. Another saint's biography echoes this description, likening it to a tornado, describing its victims as turning yellow and pallid, and calling this yellow plague by a different name entirely, a Diliad Melyn, in Welsh meaning the yellow destruction. A 12th century author named Gerald was also aware of this disease, claiming that physicians called it Isterus, Latin.
Sorry, hang on, I have to answer something. Sorry, I had to send something. It's a work day. Okay.
And for jaundice. Finally, we come to a 13th century text known as the Annales Cambriae, and it's here we can find the specific reference to the death of King Maelgwn. According to the text, there was a great mortality in 547, which killed Maelgwn of Gwynedd, and then there was a yellow plague called Llywelyn in this source. This plague was also apparently the source for a contemporary phrase, Hir hin Maelgwn yn Llys Ros, the long sleep of Maelgwn in his court at Ross, North Wales. I guess no one broke the news to this monk about what death was. So, as we've seen, in the 12th and 13th centuries, there are several references to a frightening pestilence that swept across Wales like a tornado 700 years prior, turning its victims yellow and pallid. Sources called it the Yellow Plague or the Yellow Destruction, and we're told that it ravaged the kingdom of Gwynedd and put an end to the tyrannical rule of their king. Straightforward. Simple. Except, did you notice that?
New World.
In the Annales Cambriae, the wording is off. There was a great mortality which killed Maelgwn of Gwynedd, and then there was Llywelyn, the Yellow Plague.
Then there was that.
Weird. But that's okay. Perhaps this entry is just a bit corrupted. That certainly wouldn't be the first time. And luckily we have other copies of this manuscript. If we look at the oldest version, which could be from as early as the 9th century, we might find a more straightforward answer. And sure enough, this copy is far simpler, losing much of the detail found in the other entry. The mention of Britain is gone, the phrase about Maelgwn having a long sleep is gone, and the Yellow Plague, Llywelyn, is entirely absent. Nowhere to be found. What's going on here? We know that this plague was mentioned in the 12th century, and now it's absent in the 10th, so what else do we have from this time period? The closest we can get to Maelgwn's life is undoubtedly a text written in the 6th century by a very angry monk named Gildas. This man
His name was Gildas. I'm not shocked he's angry.
is the source for many of Maelgwn's terrible deeds, alongside a seemingly out-of-place description of his strong arms and tall stature. But while I may now dedicate my free time to writing Gildas and Maelgwn fanfiction, this monk actually wrote too early for our purpose today. Because in his text, Maelgwn is still alive, still with his strong arms, still sinning and bringing shame on the people of Wales, and as the ancient Welsh proverb goes, those who are still alive are not dead. So we'll have to move on. The Historia Brittonum from the 9th century also mentions Maelgwn, but it doesn't seem to say how he died. And then, suddenly, we're brought back to the early 12th century, before Llywelyn was recorded in the Annales Cambriae, and it's here that we have a fascinating book, The History of the Kings of Britain. A book so frequently criticised for its inaccuracy that an author I mentioned earlier, Gerald, claimed that a man possessed by evil spirits suddenly wound up even more possessed when this book was placed upon him, and that the spirits infested the book too. Sadly, the author of this text seems to have only had a single source on Maelgwn, and that was the angry polemic written by Gildas. And yes, if you recall, this was written before Maelgwn died, so no plague is mentioned at all. Although a Welsh version of this text does add that Maelgwn died in a church near his castle in Deganwy, North Wales.
No mention of the Yellow Plague.
So it's rather quickly become apparent that the Yellow Plague is entirely absent from the older sources. Maelgwn is recorded as dying in a plague, but stories involving his demise to the Yellow Destruction only come about in the 12th and 13th centuries, and even then the sources can't seem to agree on whether Maelgwn died to this or not. The historian J. Kuehl, following all of this, noted that a convincing source for the origin of this Yellow Plague has yet to be found. He does, however, hypothesize that there could have been an older Welsh source that these writers got their information from, citing a potential clue in the fact that the Yellow Plague has numerous Welsh names, which are present even in texts that are otherwise written entirely in Latin. Is there now a lost source for which the author of the Annales Cambriae got his mention of Llywelyn from? Or that the author of the Saints'
Yellow Plague,
biographies
not the
received the
Yellow
name Adiliad Melyn from? We don't know.
No Yellow Plague.
On the surface, we have a pretty straightforward story that has existed since the 12th and 13th centuries. Maelgwn, the tyrant king of Gwynedd, died in 547 to a yellow plague that destroyed his kingdom. A one-off disease that was never recorded as occurring before or since.
Could the Yellow Plague be in reference to something else, and then it was over time? Like, could the Yellow Plague have been a reference to, say, greed, yellow, gold, etc.? Okay. Like, his greed is what led to the downfall of his land, destroyed his kingdom, but they referred to it as a Yellow Plague, because that's the English major in me talking, though. So, and then over time it collapsed into, no, a plague did it, you know?
However, once we dig deeper, we discover something far more mysterious. That records of this disease are completely missing prior to the 12th century. Instead, the only mention of Maelgwn's death is found in an annal that never mentions a yellow plague at all. Where did this disease come from? Llywelyn, Adiliad
Great
Melyn, or
mortality.
Avad Velen? Or conversely, where did it go? Why did it...
See, like, there's also the reality of, is there such a death, or such a killer, maybe, that again, these are sources outside of the kingdom, obviously, but where they would purposely change the record to obfuscate the truth out of shame, protection of royal lineage, anything like that. Would that be, like, that? These are things that I think about, you know?
disappear from the historical record? Or was it never there to begin with? Despite this uncertainty,
Jaundice?
some historians have gone as far as to attempt to diagnose Maelgwn's condition. Rather than dying from taking a long nap, they believe that they can pinpoint exactly what halted his reign, and perhaps provide us more clues.
Because, okay, let me put it this way. I'll use an example for the long nap. You know, this is, if you've ever experienced someone passing, you are familiar with what they might be describing. Because a long nap implies waking up. Okay? So if you've ever experienced someone passing, like I have, okay, this is something, I think I could understand what might be happening here. So Lisa, okay, who is my dad's girlfriend, he passed away from cancer. I was one of her caretakers in the end. She, for the last week she was alive, was basically in a coma, okay? Maybe not quite a week, a couple of days, okay? And the nurses said, you know, because the nurses would say, like, okay, there's going to be a time where she comes out of this, and she'll drink, she'll eat something, she'll talk to you probably, and that's usually a sign that it's any hour now, basically. Like there's this like jump back, there's this like last burst of energy that comes out. And Lisa had that, and by the next morning, she had passed. Okay, but she drank. She asked for Topo Chico. She said hi to me. She said hi, we talked with Grant. You know, she had a few bites of food. Talked with my dad. You know, and so it was like she woke up. But she did pass not long after. So I'm wondering if the long nap is what they're referring to, in that this was a sickness that was ravaging the body, therefore the long nap, then coming out of it and having that last burst of energy before passing, you know? So it's like, it's referred to as a long nap, but it is essentially an unmedicated coma, You know what I'm saying? It's so eerie that health professionals can predict such behavior. I mean, a lot of the nurses we had were people that were hospice nurses, so they had seen this so many times, you know, especially with people with cancer like Lisa, because Lisa was only 58 when she passed.
On the exact nature of this historical enigma. To help,
Because the phrase "a long nap," because it sounds like Cambrian Chronicles is referring to it as like, oh yeah, they didn't know what death meant. Like there, it sounds like Cambrian Chronicles is thinking that the long nap is dying. Like they died and they're just referring to it as long death. But again, the nap, I feel, gives they were out for a long time, but they did wake up. You know, like the nap implies a waking up at some point, which is making me think this is almost more in line with, yes, this person was dying, but the nap wording is making me think that it is, you know, more in line with what we know with people that are, their body function is shutting down, you know?
figure this out, we have to look far to the east, beyond Europe, beyond Asia, all the way around the globe, to the island of Ireland.
People call the death the long sleep now. That's why he said it in the contemporary phrase, but I do think that kind of waking up could definitely be
Medieval
connected in
Ireland
that
was
way.
no stranger to disease. In the 6th century alone, we have records of at least 5 different afflictions on the island, and some of these plagues have a very familiar name. Because while the Welsh never again recorded a case of the Yellow Plague, the Irish had their own version to deal with. In 534, the Annals of Boyle tell us of an outbreak of Bui Connell, the yellowness of Connell, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right because my guide is a text from 1947.
Oui.
In 537, we have the Great Plague that struck both Britain and Ireland. In 544, we'd have an outbreak of Blefed, the bubonic plague. And
Blefed.
finally, in 550,
We're not seeing quite that version now, but
the Annals of Tiernach tell us of an outbreak of the Yellow and Saffron plagues, the first of which struck several churches in southwest Ireland. The records of these plagues are incredibly valuable to us, and they
so he even makes a comment about them using the phrase "the long sleep" or "a long nap," and he then says, "I guess he didn't know what dying was," is what he is saying. He's referring to text when he is using the long nap or the long sleep.
can provide 2 key theories as to what the Welsh Yellow Plague was. The first is found in 544. By this time, the bubonic plague of Justinian had attacked the Roman Empire and reached the shores of Ireland. The historian A. Dooley has suggested that the Irish name for this, Blefed, means yellow disease, using an apparent old scholarly word for yellow. Dooley thereby theorizes that the 2 diseases are one single cycle of the plague of Justinian. There are 2 problems with this, however. The first is that the date in the Annals Cambriae seems a bit far away. If the plague had reached Ireland in 544, why did it take another 3 years to be recorded in North Wales? This date has been considered to be unreliable, however,
it was
so
going as
perhaps
fast
it
as
could be
it
pushed
could,
back a couple of
God.
years to line up more. What really disputes this theory, though, is pointed out by the historian J. Kuehl. Continental sources never describe this bubonic plague as yellow, nor do they list the key symptom of turning its victims
Plague
yellow.
turns victims
Instead,
yellow,
2
plague
different
does not
authors
turn
record the
victims yellow.
primary symptom apparently being swelling of the groin. And yes, I am being serious. This is never mentioned in British or Irish sources.
Remember when people started trying to claim that getting the COVID vaccine made their penises swell up? Do you guys remember that?
Relating to the Yellow Plague. To add to this, I have to point out that Blefed and Bui Connell are listed as 2 separate diseases in the Irish annals. In all, there doesn't seem to be enough evidence to confidently link the bubonic plague to the Yellow Plagues of Wales and Ireland. They seem to be 2 different
Is he someone
diseases entirely.
Suffering from a yellow-based disease. will be
Thankfully,
from
the historian
eyeballs.
Sir William MacArthur had a different theory. Growing up listening to the stories from the Great Famine, he was familiar with the diseases that followed, such as typhus. But one day he was apparently talking to an old man in Donegal who mentioned something groundbreaking. He told MacArthur that he remembers his parents mentioning another different disease from the time, one that they called the yellow fever. because it turned its victim's skin yellow. And MacArthur
Are we
believed he knew
closing the
exactly
gap?
what that disease was.
Are we
Relapsing
closing the
fever.
gap? Are we closing the gap?
This disease is the cause behind our second theory on what exactly these yellow plagues were. Relapsing fever can cause jaundice and liver failure, both of which cause the skin to turn yellow. And in the 19th century there had been outbreaks in Ireland and Scotland, the latter of which caused its victims to suffer a very deep jaundice. Based on this, MacArthur believed that Bui Connell and Pestis flava, this strange disease that struck Ireland, Wales and Ireland again, was a, quote, severe form of relapsing fever, noting that the symptom of jaundice must have been common enough to, quite literally, colour the chronicler's perception of the disease.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's bubonic.
In the centuries following its first appearance, the Yellow Plague of Wales would form a much more mythical picture, and with all of the confusion we've seen, it's really not that surprising. While the saints' lives claim that Maelgwn died of Adiliad Melyn, and the Annals claimed that it was apparently in his court in North Wales, very likely near a town called Deganwy, we would soon receive a much more elaborate story. In the 17th century, two texts tell us that Maelgwn had fled the Yellow Plague, here called by its now most common name of Avad Velen, to the
Avad
church
Velen.
of Eglois Ross, near his court in
Eglos
Deganwy.
Ross.
Here, he underwent his own 6th century lockdown,
So much of this stream is just me trying to pronounce names.
posting guards and forbidding anyone to come near except for his attendants, and shutting the door to prevent the foul infected air from coming in. Maelgwn could not, however, have known how relapsing fever, of Avad Velen, was spread. Plague is a scary enough concept in the modern day, where we have good sanitation and understanding of what disease is. Imagine how terrifying it would be if you had no idea what was causing it, and no cure, and if doctors would not even attempt to treat it, because according to the saints' lives, they would just end up infected themselves. Unfortunately for this medieval king, relapsing fever is not spread through the air, but instead by lice and ticks. So while he may have been safe from human transmission, he was not safe from the source.
Perhaps if he returns you yellow jaundice. Why are you showing me the rat again?
We're told that Maelgwn
It's like, why are you showing me the rat again? Rat. Unfortunately, it's so often the rats.
ultimately became infected in an odd way by looking through a hole in the church door, allowing the foul air to strike him. His attendants apparently believed he was sleeping in
this
his
was
bed,
before that.
so I'm guessing they thought everyone turned yellow and corpse-like when they slept, and that's where this classic phrase, "the long sleep in the court of Ross," comes from, which was apparently still used in the 17th century. The most monstrous transformation of Avad Velen, however, would come from the mouths of the bards. In this case, a poem given to a bard named Taliesin from the 6th century. We have no proof he ever wrote this, of course, and in all likelihood he didn't. Until 1973, it wasn't even known if this was real, as it had only been preserved in a lengthy manuscript created by a man named Iolo Morganwg, who had an unfortunate habit of inventing things like these. Fortunately, a historian named Gerath Harries found this paragraph
He
in
was
a
making his own
manuscript from
fanfiction.net.
1527, and it said the following, if you'll pardon my accent. Thou prif rifedd e vorfa rianedd,
I'm not trying this
ddial
one.
yn wiredd a failgun gwynedd. Ai vlew,
for
ai
following.
ddanedd, ai
Hey, subscribe.
sagaid yn eirdd, a hwn a
Kimmy
una
B, love the
diwedd a
small
failgun
green.
gwynedd.
Thank you for subscribing.
A most unusual
It's
creature
casting
will
spell.
come from Morfa Rhianedd as a punishment for the wickedness of Maelgwn Gwynedd. Its
Damn.
hair and its eyes and its teeth will be gold, and it will destroy Maelgwn of Gwynedd.
My gold theory's coming back. My gold theory's coming back, chat. I'm just saying. My gold theory's coming back.
Morfa Rhianedd is a swamp located to the north of Maelgwn's castle in Deganwy, so thankfully by the 16th century they'd clearly cracked the case. Avad Velen was not caused by foul air but by a foul beast instead. And yes, the author did rhyme Gwynedd with Gwynedd. Nice job, Taliesin. Oh, he can't hear me. The historian J. Wood also links this monster of Morfa Rhianedd with an 18th century folkloric creature named Gwach y Rhibyn, described by Wirt Sykes, the author of British Goblins, as an extremely thin, cadaverous woman who stalked the swamps and could cause fever or death just from her appearance. While it isn't an exact match to Avad Velen, Wood makes an extremely interesting comparison between the two. After all, Gurach Ribin is associated with swamps, starvation, and death from disease, while relapsing fever can follow famines, and was once also imagined as a monster rising from the swamps.
Me jump scaring people in the wetlands for shits and giggles. The fucking transition.
Avad Valen is one of the strangest and for a time most mysterious diseases of the medieval era. No one at the time knew the true cause of Maelgwn's demise. Until 1947, long after we understood the nature of what caused disease, historians generally assumed it was just the bubonic plague, an opinion that's still sometimes held today. But the dates have never lined up very well. The continental sources never mentioned anyone turning yellow, the Welsh and Irish ones never mentioned any bubonic swellings, and the Irish even called these diseases by two entirely different names. MacArthur's theory, born from the horrifying stories of the destruction Ireland faced in the 19th century, is our most robust theory. A particularly virulent outbreak of relapsing fever, whose jaundice-causing symptoms were so potent that it became the sole identifying factor across 2 islands and 2 languages. Kuehl also suggests that Avad Velen could have occurred close to or at the same time as other plagues, perhaps typhus, another famine-associated fever, or even a late cycle of the bubonic plague. All of this could easily contribute to a massive sense of confusion from later medieval chroniclers. While it's true we don't have any sources referencing the Yellow Plague in Wales until the 12th century, the variety of names it was known by suggests to Kuehl that there was an older source, perhaps several. After all, these sources called them by 2 different names, 3 if you include the Latin one, and by the 16th century a 3rd name cropped up, Avad Velen. Where did this come from? Where did any of these come from? Kuehl ends his analysis with one final brilliant note, that after all of this, 20th century historians will claim that a yellow plague swept across 6th century Europe, despite the fact that we only have mentions of it in Ireland and Wales, and that those records are from hundreds of years later, and that we have no idea what their source is. He then cites one of these historians he's criticizing directly, with the exact book and page number. I had to travel down to Cardiff to get access to this because, believe it or not, Wales and Medicine 1973 was not an international bestseller, but this made it absolutely worth it. I can only aspire to be this petty. In the end, we will probably never know for certain what Avad Velen was, nor where these Welsh sources got their information from. I was fired from my job as a doctor for making up diseases for my patients to have, so I suppose it's always a possibility, and I don't think it's my fault that liver exploditis doesn't exist. Avad Velen, Llywelyn, or Adiliad Melyn was not remembered as an invisible disease, silently turning its victims yellow and bloodless, but instead as a destructive column of water, a tornado, and a literal monster rising out of a swamp. I do find this connection quite interesting though.
What if
Why did the monster come from Morfa Rhianedd? Is there perhaps some truth to the creature emerging from the swamps of North Wales, not in the form of a tangible being, but as something far more terrifying?
I like the monster
Millions
theory.
of tiny, invisible creatures, spreading a disease that at the time must have seemed like it had no cause, no cure, and no escape. Thank you for watching.
What if the answer is that monsters are real, but they were killed off before it could spread more? Like, how many things? Extinct turned to yellow monster, rest in peace. Exactly. Exploditis sounds like something House would say as a joke, yeah. Okay, hang on. We're going to do a quick little intermission, so I'm going to go flip on the AC and get a snack, and I'll be back. I am back. Okay, let me just go to regular. We're going to our regularly scheduled programming. Scary things.
I'm a painter, so I know.
Okay, we've watched a lot of his videos. Saw that one. Terrifying footage. The tunnel one we've seen, so I don't know why that's
Omega
allowed.
is a YouTuber known for creating a variety of
sandwich.
content over the years, but his most popular videos feature explorations of abandoned and haunted locations. In this video, he ventures into Spooner's Tunnel, a historic rail tunnel
Spooners.
built between 1891 and 1893. Closed in 1955, it remains the longest decommissioned tunnel in New Zealand. His plan was to camp inside overnight.
That's dumb.
But what happened next will keep you on the edge of your seat.
It's a peanut butter and honey sandwich, that's it.
Here
just
it
want
is,
something
everyone.
light.
Spooner's Rail Tunnel. It was built in, there we go, 1891 to 93. And man, look at the length. 1,352 meters. This is the longest disused rail tunnel in New Zealand. Oh man alive. I don't know how far I'm gonna go into this thing. I've got to find a place to set up camp though somewhere, so
Is there
and
an
it has to
exit?
be in the tunnel, so I'm going to venture in. From what I remember, there are little manholes throughout this tunnel. I think the thing that I'm mostly worried about is people coming up here. I mean,
Probably.
you don't know what kind of people come up here. I don't see any visible signs of like
Well, we know at least what type of people is annoying YouTubers. And I can say that because I'm also an annoying YouTuber.
tagging or anything on the outside piece of the tunnel, but you just don't know. You don't know what kind of people are gonna come up and hang out in this tunnel, you know, in the night. And it is a Friday night here, so yeah, there could
Party
be
time.
anyone coming up here. Oh,
Tunnel
look,
party. Is that
that's
a
me
dog?
long lost shoe. Okay, before we even go
Dog.
into the tunnel, as you can see, it's totally pitch black. It's too dark to go in there without any form or source of light. So that's the next thing
Why is your dog's leash just a chain?
we need to get out of the pack. Oh, there's my baby. This is my massive dolphin torch. It's a really good torch, as you can see. It pretty much shone right down to the end of the tunnel there, so this thing will do the trick, I'm sure.
Omega and his dog headed into the tunnel, surrounded by complete
I'm
darkness,
sorry.
with
I totally
only his
missed the fact
torch
that his
to
name
guide
is
them.
Omega.
After walking
We
for a
glossed past
while,
that, I'm
he found
sorry.
a spot that seemed
How
like
dare
the
I?
best place to camp for the night. He set up his mattress, made something to eat, and then headed back out to explore a little more.
Lighting a fire inside there is crazy.
Crazy, I know.
You have no
I'm
idea
going
what type of
deeper
gas
and
builds up
deeper
is in
into
that
this
tunnel.
This is so long, it's ridiculous. You can probably see down there's like reflectors. These reflectors are based on what I was saying at the start of the video. This has been turned into a bike track from the council. So people can actually bike through this track.
Oh, okay.
And they
this is
come
not
into
that
the
scary.
tunnel, and this is a part of the mainstream bike track. The reflectors are actually to help bikers to find their way through the tunnel, and another manhole, by the way. The bikers are actually required to have headlights.
Omega didn't come across anything particularly interesting, so he headed back to his camp and started getting ready to sleep. Just as he was about to settle in, he suddenly heard a noise echo through the tunnel. Without hesitation, he grabbed his torch and went to investigate.
Can you guys hear that? Max, where is it? I don't know if you guys can hear this on the camera, but there's something. What is that? Ugh. What the? Hello? What is that? Max, what is that? Hello? Is there somebody here?
This is dumb.
That's just creepy. What the hell? Is anyone here? What is that? Oh!
Grab your fucking dog. I missed it. I looked down.
The source of the sound turned out to be a music box, playing eerily in the dark.
That's not a music box. You know what I think that is? That looks like a pool thing. It looks like one of those pool things that like makes sounds and like sprays water. It does look like a random kid's toy. It's not a music box though. There's no box. Whispers, can you not look?
Darkness. Omega looked around, trying to figure out who
God,
had put it there.
I'm so sorry.
Then he saw him, a man hiding in the shadows. Most likely a homeless person using the tunnel for shelter,
funny.
trying to
That's
scare
funny.
him away. But instead of
Again,
simply asking
when
him
it's
to
a
leave,
man, it's
he
most
chose
likely a
this
human being.
unsettling approach. It was a chilling reminder that sometimes the scariest thing out there isn't the paranormal. It's
Dude, you scared the shit. That's his home. That's where he sleeps. Hey man, I'm sorry. I'm camping down the way. I'm sorry to disturb you. Calm down. The guy is just looking at you like, hey, can you be fucking quiet? Can you calm down?
other people. This next video comes from the Adventure Twins,
Oh, God.
two identical brothers who love
seen shit from
exploring,
them before.
especially caves.
They're
While
usually in a
wandering
cave
through
doing
the
some fuck
forest,
shit.
they stumbled upon
wait, no,
an
this is the
underground
hole.
pipe.
This is the hole. We've seen this
Curious
one.
to see what was inside, they tied a camera to a string. Alex and Ema, a couple with a shared dream of owning a camping van to explore the US together, finally made that dream a reality. After getting their van, they took it to the mechanic to get everything in working order. Once it was ready, they spent their very first night in it, excited for the adventures ahead. But just 1 week later, something very sad happened, completely changing their journey.
So this brings us to now. This only happened yesterday, but we were filming a moving in to the van video. We were getting ready to move into it tomorrow.
So we were just running some errands for the day. We had some stuff that we needed to return at the post office.
We were on our way home. We were about 5 minutes away from our Airbnb, and I looked down and there was smoke right by my feet. So I yelled at Emma to pull over instantly.
Yeah, luckily there was a very easy place on the side of the road, just like
the
a few
van?
meters ahead, that I just swerved and pulled into straight away.
Basically, I opened the door and there were already flames there at the door, so I jumped out, and at this point I look to the right and there's a guy running with a fire extinguisher, so he must have seen that the vehicle was already on fire. At this point I look back and the van is in flames, but Emma is still in the van.
They realized something was burning and pulled over to the side of the road. A man quickly came to help. This was 10 seconds after they got out of the van.
Jesus. Shit.
What have we got in there?
This man was an absolute hero. He was just there trying his hardest to put this out with his fire extinguisher,
Depending on what's
and he
burning,
was just kept trying and trying.
it's not always
probably
the easiest to
for
put
way
it out.
longer than he should have done, putting himself in danger. Really, like the amount of smoke, it was terrifying.
It then got to the point where he couldn't fight the fire anymore.
depending on what's burning.
And he just turned and ran.
You have to get
and
away
at this
from it.
point for us, we then did the same to try and find some shelter.
Run!
Oh my god!
What do we do?
Oh my god! Oh my god! What do we do? What do we do?
They're not in my country. So I what you do is call the fire authorities to alert them. They can't put it out, but they can block off traffic and alert people and set up a blockade so that no cars come by it. Yeah, it's the filming. It's the filming for me. I'm so sorry. At a certain point, you got to stop filming. That's where I had to pause it. I was like, what do we do to the camera is kind of, I'm so sorry. I know, as a YouTuber, I'm so sorry I'm being a bitch. But like, I don't know.
I don't know.
Should we run down that way?
Holy fuck.
I think we're gonna climb over here.
Okay.
Call 911.
This was their dream, burning right in front of their eyes.
Run, 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 run.
Why are we
run.
running back that way? What are we doing? You were fine where you were.
Oh my god.
The fire department arrived and they stayed in a woman's car, watching as the firefighters did their work. It's so sad how life works. 1 second everything seems perfect, you feel like you could fly, and the next, everything is gone, burned to ashes. This isn't the usual kind of encounter I'd put in my videos, but watching this was disturbing. I couldn't help but put myself in their shoes.
So, Whispers, you do so many van life videos. I don't know why this is in this video.
And feel how it must have felt to watch their dream fade away. My dream is to hit 50,000 subscribers someday, and I can't do that with... A family was hiking on a trail in the forest, enjoying quality time together, soaking in the beauty of nature, and teaching their kids what life is really about. But suddenly, as they looked back, they noticed something terrifying. A bear was following them.
Okay, he's following you, babe. Hey, bear! Hey, bear!
Did we see this one?
Hey! Do not run. Hey, bear! Hey, bear!
Hey! Holy shit, he's following us.
Hey! Hey! Go home! Hey!
Oh! Go!
Okay.
Okay, you guys go up there.
Oh, come on. Don't run. Do not run.
Can we play dead yet?
Hey!
Can we play dead yet?
Hey!
Can we play dead now?
He's like, I'm tired of walking.
Walk faster, please.
He's like, I'm tired of walking. I'd rather play dead.
Hey!
Why?
Hey!
What happens if we get...
It's not a time for you to say something. Stay in front of me.
Following us.
Following us up the trail.
How many kids do y'all fucking have? Jesus.
Can you just give up?
Hey, bear! Hey!
We shut it up.
You wanted to see a bear.
They yelled at the bear and threw rocks, but it didn't seem to back off. It just walked slowly, staying on their trail. Eventually, they picked up the pace, trying to get further away from it. The little boy, in his own funny way, asked his mother if they could play dead. But seriously, don't go into areas known to have bears without bear spray or any kind of weapon. If you got here, leave a comment with the word whisper. A man was riding his bike on a trail, enjoying the beautiful day and taking in the peaceful surroundings. Everything seemed pretty chill, until suddenly something unexpected happened.
Train? No, he's checking. Okay. Bear? Oh, human. Hello. Hi. Oh, this shit. I still, yeah, I'm sorry. You still should have read. I still think you should have ridden away from this in my instance. We've seen this video.
Bilbo was in a forest somewhere in Massachusetts, testing the depth of field on his new camera, when he suddenly heard something. He kept recording, and this is what he caught.
You trying to hide behind this tiny tree? Tiny little sprig? What are we doing? Oh, this thing. We've seen this one too. Alright. Let's so popular. Let's see, how many of these have we seen?
Nomad Unknown is a channel run by a girl who shares her adventures traveling the country, living in her car, and camping in different locations. Her content is raw and engaging, giving an authentic look into her lifestyle. However, camping in unfamiliar places isn't always smooth sailing. Sometimes unexpected and unsettling encounters happen.
Bilbo?
In this video, she sets out for a simple overnight camp deep in the south. But what she experiences would
Deep in
make
the
anyone
South.
in her position feel uneasy. Before we dive in, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for helping me reach 10,000 subscribers. I never imagined.
Anyways, sorry. Every time they come into chat, they annoy the fuck out of me. So finally, I'm doing something about it.
Getting out, started on the trail now. It's pretty quiet out here. It's lovely.
Being immediately followed by them going back to the camera.
Every now and then.
I tried filming a few of those in Japan, and I felt dumb every time I did it.
Getting ready at the trailhead, I encountered 3 young men who are out backpacking on this trail as well, and they let me know that a couple of them had done this trail before. This trail I'm out here hiking is in the Kisatchie National Forest in Louisiana, and it's called the Wild Azalea Trail, and it's arguably the best trail in Louisiana. So, pretty excited. It should also be the season for azaleas. So hopefully we'll get to see some beautiful azaleas in bloom, and
Is this one where the dude was calling her?
restore my mental health.
I don't remember.
She finally found a spot she
Maybe.
liked and decided to set up camp.
No.
As she was checking out the
Wait.
surroundings, she spotted a man, someone she had already
you're
seen
right.
4 times while walking the trail to
You're
her
right.
campsite. That's when it hit her.
Out of here before 3 strikes and I'm out.
Do you think this camera could have belonged to
Yeah,
the man
you're
she
right. This is
saw
the camera
earlier? Rob Call Nature is an outdoor channel where the creator
We may have
shares
seen
his
this video
camping
before, and it just
adventures,
wasn't showing
often
as
taking on
watched.
unique survival challenges like spending the night without fire or shelter. This time, he set out to explore a place he found on the map called Viking Tomb, a location with no photos online.
Having a cable is
Intrigued,
annoying, I
he
will
wanted to see it for himself. He drove as far as he could, but since the site was deep in the woods, he had to leave his car behind and continue on foot.
I know it's a blanket, but
After
it looks like
walking for a
AstroTurf.
bit, he glanced back, only to see some people photographing his car. Take a look.
I don't like that.
Search on Google Earth. If you get close enough to the terrain, there always pops up points of interest. And by pure luck, in the middle of the woods, suddenly popped up a point of interest, and it's read
Tomb.
Viking Tomb. So I clicked on it, and only one picture taken from that Viking tomb. So I thought that place we have to visit. I just parked my car on the closest road to this place.
That's the face of what the fuck are you doing in my car?
That's weird. Why would they do that? That really bothered me. Why would they take pictures of my car? So, we have to head due west. When I unpacked my car, there drove a car by. They slowed down pretty much when they saw me. And just now, before I left the road into the woods, they made another round and took a picture of my license plate. Maybe it was the landowner. Maybe they thought I was a poacher.
He kept walking, not
Still
thinking
like
too
that?
much about it. After a long trek, he finally reached the Viking tomb and decided to set up his hammock. As he was getting everything ready, snow started to fall, covering the forest in a quiet, almost surreal atmosphere.
It's 11 o'clock, and I've been laying here for about 4 hours. The wind is really cooling down this shelter, even though I'm all tucked in, and I've got hand warmers, 4 of them. I just can't seem to get warm, so I'm just laying here, shivering. I'm going to pull the plug on this one. Am I hypothermic? No, but it's really uncomfortably cold. We are going to get up, back up, and hike out in the night.
He tried to push through the night, but the conditions kept getting worse. The temperature dropped fast, and soon he was freezing from the cold. After giving it some thought, he realized there was no way he could make it through the night like this. It was too risky, so he made the call to head back to his car and save the camping trip for another, hopefully warmer night. But when he finally got to his car, he saw this.
Oh, they broke into his shit.
Well, I found her. My princess in shiny armor.
They wrecked your shit, didn't they?
Well, someone has been interested in my car. I knew there was something off. These are not my footprints.
The tripod is taking me out.
The left one is mine, and the right one is the visitor in the night. When we headed out, someone took a picture of my car. Well, maybe they're as curious as I am. Well, that's the... let's just get out of here.
After spotting the fresh footprints in the snow, a sense of unease crept over him. The fact that it had been snowing while he was at the tomb meant these prints were recent. Whoever made them was likely still nearby. That thought alone was enough to make him feel watched. Not
Viking.
wanting to take any chances, he quickly got
Those are the
into his
guardians of
car
the
and
tomb
left the
you
area.
met.
What do you think? Was he overreacting, or did he have a real reason to feel like someone was following him? A family was hiking on a trail in the Amazon jungle when the mother suddenly looked to her left, and what she saw made their hearts stop. A mountain lion, silently waiting, positioned as if ready to strike the
that's not a
moment
mountain
they
lion.
passed by. Here's the clip.
That's a mountain lion. Grab your kids.
The lion was clearly ready to attack, but the moment the family stopped and made eye contact with it, the animal relaxed. That's when things could have taken a dangerous turn. If anyone had started yelling or running, it might have triggered the lion's natural hunting instinct, causing it to chase them. What probably saved them was how calm they stayed, especially with little kids around. Kids are often seen as easy prey for animals like that, so it's lucky the family didn't panic. Thankfully, the lion backed off, and the family made it out unharmed. But seriously, little kids in a jungle with parents who have no kind of protection, that's a terrifying situation
Sit
waiting
down
to
and
happen.
look around like me. I'm good.
Lisa, a woman who lives in her van and shares her
Oh, we've seen some
experiences
videos
on her
before.
channel,
Asleep 5
decades, often gives viewers a glimpse into her van life. In the video I'm about to show you, she encounters something that anyone who camps in a van fears. Around 4 a.m., while sleeping in her van, she was suddenly woken up by the sound of knocks right next to her ear. She sat there, frozen, unsure of what to do. Then the knock came again. This time she responded with a hesitant hello, but there was no answer. For the next 15 minutes, nothing happened. But then she heard footsteps approaching once more, and this time she started recording. Take a look.
Somebody's back here again. I hear footprints. Hello?
That's, oh.
How can I help you?
No, we've seen her video before. No, you
It's
don't.
4:30 in the morning. I don't feel safe.
Yeah, no, I don't like this.
Who are you?
There was still no response, so she quietly tried to move to the front of the van, possibly with much worse intentions. Who knows what could have happened? Luckily, she remained unharmed, and the man eventually left.
No,
what do
you
you
gotta
think
leave.
about this encounter?
gotta leave.
Was it just an attempted theft, or something more sinister?
That's nice and all, get a bat. Bat's got longer reach.
Kevin and Jamie, the creators of the channel Don't Blink Paranormal, focus their content on using the app Randonautica to generate random coordinates and explore mysterious locations. Their passion for the unknown and discovering new places drives their adventures. This time, the app led them to a location that, upon arrival, turned out to be a graveyard. Parking their car in a nearby lot, they continued the investigation on foot. Right from the start, they began hearing strange noises coming from the woods. At first, they brushed it off, assuming it was just animals, but things were about to get much weirder.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Okay, Diva.
So now I need to go.
Yeah, Leo's been waiting for a while.
Well, thank you. All right, so go.
That was. Oh, I do hear yelling, but that's definitely forest
Sound like
sounds.
feathers.
There's people screaming.
Yeah, I do hear people screaming.
Okay. Where's it at?
They eventually reached the graveyard, and not long after stepping through the gate, they began hearing loud noises coming from the forest. At this point, it was hard to ignore. Something was out there.
Oh, pup. What is that?
I don't know.
That was a lot of noise in there.
Who's here with us right now? Hello?
Oh, please.
I don't know what that.
What the fuck is it?
Animals.
What are you doing?
Those are coyotes or wolves. I don't know. I don't know which state they're in. This is not that scary.
That.
Fuck that.
What the fuck is that?
Wolves.
I don't know.
Coyote. Every party like a coyote party. No one party like a coyote party.
Is that something? Eating something?
What?
I don't know.
It's not on us.
This isn't.
The screams they heard sounded like a pack of coyotes, but at the same time, it was eerily similar to coyotes attacking a human.
What? What?
That ain't a doll.
That's a doll.
That's not a doll.
That's a doll.
I don't know what that is.
It's a doll. It might be an ugly doll, but it's a doll. Don't touch it. Leave it. Leave it. Don't touch
What
it.
is that?
I don't know.
It's a doll. That's definitely a doll from like, that is 100% like a homemade doll for someone's granddaughter. 100%.
Is it?
I have no idea what
It's
that is.
100% a doll.
It's a weird looking thing though.
We'll move.
Looks like freaking Jar Jar Binks off Star Wars. Hey, what is that?
What is it?
It's holding something.
What is it on? Oh, hell no.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
This app usually generates random,
scare people with
ordinary
Mama,
locations,
you know?
places that are far from creepy. But every once in a while, it sends people somewhere that feels unnervingly dangerous. And then there are the strange things people do, like hanging dolls from trees, leaving eerie objects behind, or setting up scenes that seem straight out of a horror movie. It makes you wonder, why do people do things like that? Sometimes it's not the places that are scary, it's the people. 401 Files is a channel dedicated to investigating a variety of unexplained phenomena. The creator focuses on locations known for sightings of creatures like
UK Bigfoot here?
UFOs, Dogman, and other mysterious entities. His videos are a great watch for anyone into the paranormal, and honestly, sometimes a good Bigfoot video is all you need to get hooked. This time, he returns to a place called Dalby Forest.
401 Files, it's an absolute pleasure, as I always say, to be joined by so many like-minded people from all around the world. I've brought you back...
I know it's a conspiracy theory term, like-minded people. I know they've been using it for a long time. But God, with the rise of MAGA, it does feel like a dog whistle now.
today to a place that we have explored before. This was last year, and it's a place that has Dogman sightings.
Not Dogman.
Creepy stories and evidence, cases of human mutilation, animal mutilation, UFOs and extraterrestrials, and everything in between. This is Dalby Forest, a large forested area situated on the east coast of Britain, and we're going to spend the night here tonight and explore.
He and his cute dog head out, trying to find a spot to spend the night as the evening approaches fast.
As nightfall creeps in, I become extremely aware that humans are not suited to the dark. We are generally diurnal creatures, and our senses are not meant for nighttime activity, and so our imagination, combined with sensory deprivation, can cause us to imagine the worst case scenarios. Being in the dark means that we cannot see the real or imagined dangers that are in our midst.
What?
And because of this, we feel extremely vulnerable and exposed.
Well, yeah.
Mundane things that we would otherwise ignore during the day can easily
God, we just
startle
hit.
or even frighten us whenever we're trapped in the dark. I can only imagine then what effect the human mind.
The dog whistle line is, it's great to be joined by like-minded people. The phrase like-minded people, which is a fairly common phrase, but it's something that I hear too many MAGA people use. So again, it's like, I was like, I know it's not being used in that way here. It's being used in the name of people that believe in the paranormal, people that are interested in, you know, mysteries and unsolved things and things like that. But the phrase like-minded people is something that I hear far too often now.
Mind would undergo if that threat was actually real, and the experience was one that you couldn't even comprehend.
I don't know what he just said, but he and Lily eventually found a place to stay for the night. As night settled in, he decided to explore the forest, but soon strange lights began to appear in the distance, deep in the woods, lights he couldn't explain the origin of. If you got here, comment the word darkness.
Darkness, no.
There's some lights over there in the distance. I'm not sure what that is. My initial thought, that's Lily, obviously the green one, and she's really close to me, but those two white lights seem really far from the distance. My original thought just then was maybe a road, but they don't seem to be moving, and they're not constant. They keep going on and off, and one of them just got really bright. So
That's a person. The green
I have
one.
no idea what that is. Try and zoom in.
So as you can hear, there's wind, and that's going like. So guess what trees and bushes do in the wind? So that can make a stationary light appear to be moving from a distance, even if they're not moving at all. The way I'm bored. Anyways, okay, let's see. What else do we have? What the fuck? Wife or your marriage for you sleeping with her stepmother that she has siblings because of. Is her dad gone? Why was she alone in this apartment? Where is your wife's father in this situation? Is this woman the only family your wife has and you slept with her? Fuck her also, because what the fuck is wrong with her? Okay? But Jesus fuck. Trying to forgive myself. Don't. Fuck off. God. Rando, you fucked her stepmother that she evidently lives downstairs from, based off what you're describing. Was this on vacation? Was this a rental property? What's the fuck? Someone that she has siblings because of. Like this woman, you can't cut this woman out of your lives. She's potentially still married to her father. Like there are people that can get past cheating. I'm not one of those people. You cheat on me, I'm cutting your dick off. Get away from me, okay? I don't care that we have a kid together. I'm doing our kid the right thing by me not murdering her dad. The end, okay? That's the right thing, okay? Is me leaving your ass, okay? But again, there are people that were like, okay, you cheated on me, you love me, it got out of your system, you were drunk, whatever the fuck, okay? Dumb reasons, but still, okay? They get back together, okay? This is not some rando you met at a bar. This is a woman that, depending on ages, helped raise your wife. And you slept with her. There's no coming back from this. You have now allowed you as the husband. I don't care if she was throwing I don't care if she ripped off the bikini top and slung at you like a little slingshot, okay? I don't give a fuck. You're her husband. You leave. Cool, making sure you just got up for your appointment. Cool, bye. You don't sleep with her. You absolute idiot. God. That's your wife. You're having marriage problems because you're fucking 23 years old and you have a 5-year-old. Of course you're having marriage problems. The answer is not sleeping with your wife's stepmom. Jesus. You're not divorced yet, okay? She was staying home with your baby, with the kid, okay? She is realizing she doesn't have many options if she leaves you right now. She doesn't work. She's a kid. So she's going to get her GED to give herself options so she can leave your ass. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. Whether this was planned out in advance or not, that's the only reason you're not divorced yet. You just fucked up one of the places she could go, which would be with her family, which in this instance may just be the dad and stepmom. But that's not even a safe place because you fucked her stepmom. Like, this is so insidious and he doesn't even understand. He's talking about it like it's normal cheating. This is family annihilation without a gun. Like, this is fucking insane. This is batshit. Oh God, she's never gonna trust that woman again. She's never gonna trust you. Because again, this isn't you getting drunk with your buddies at the bar and hooking up with some girl in the bathroom. This is you fucking her stepmom. While your wife is downstairs taking care of your child and the stepmom's kids, her siblings. You didn't even do it like you did it above her. Dude, you're lucky she didn't hit you with your car, the car, like Jesus. She's planning to leave your ass and you don't even realize it. You think this is the false sense of security stage. Many couples go through this. Many guys realize this is happening but don't realize what it means. They realize their girlfriends or their wives don't get angry at things anymore around them. You know how I just don't care anymore when you do something? Yeah, it's fucking weird. They acknowledge that something's changed, but they don't know what it means. It's because she's already given up on you. She's looking for options. She's making her plan to leave. Typically, once a guy acknowledges, yeah, she like stopped nagging me about things. It's really weird. The papers get filed not long after. You know, she just broke up with me out of nowhere, bro. I don't know what happened. She already moved on. She was mourning the relationship while in it. It's pretty common. That's what's happening. You feel like it's normal. There's no normal from this. She's going through the motions. I blew your life to smithereens. Fuck our lives, your life. Again, her marriage and her relationship with her family now is irreparably damaged. Her and her stepmom may get to a point where they can deal with it, but it's never going to be the same because this woman that for all we know, we don't know details, this woman could have been in her life for a decade. She has young siblings because of this stepmom. You blew up her fucking life and she has a 5-year-old to think of. Of course she's going to an escape room with you and letting you hug and kiss her when you think that it's fine. You blew up her life. Dependent on each other. My wife is dependent on me and I'm the only provider in this family and she doesn't even have her GED and we have a 5-year-old. We're codependent. No, you're a family who got married too young and now is a 5-year-old dependent on you. A human life is dependent on you. That's not codependency. You have a family and you fucked up because you're an asshole. The end. Like, this is not...
So don't...
I'll tell you something. When you were downstairs taking care of our beautiful child that we made together and, you know, your siblings, you know, your stepmom and I stayed upstairs. You remember that to make sure she didn't miss her meeting. Yeah, I was so thoughtful. That was thoughtful to me, right? Yeah. Well, you see, she was in a bikini the whole time. And her top just fell off. Her top just fell off. And you know what your stepmom's rack looks like. So, you know, I had to. And I feel so bad about it, honey. I love you. Our marriage is worth working on. So worth it. I'm a piece of shit? But I'm taking accountability right now. That's not counting? Okay. I guess I'll sleep on the couch. Oh, so you're being slipped in by accident? Yeah, has her stepmother, was her stepmother also, because again, think about this. As someone that has dealt with step-parents, okay? I have some that were good, I have some that were bad. Yes, there was more than one, okay? And it can be very jarring, again, depending on the time of year. It's traumatic as well because there's also the thought of, I want my parents to be together and they're not. Who is this stranger that is now married to my dad? Like, that as well is also traumatic. So of course it's this is someone who, in her mind, stole her father from her mother potentially, who knows? And now she's slept with your husband. Of course there's trauma. There's past trauma there. Oh God, not be hugging and kissing on her because she is only allowing you to do that because she thinks she doesn't have options. Because even though you did something so horrific, she does not have options to leave you right now. So she's putting up with it, but she's definitely leaving your ass, it sounds like. I would, but I'm, different. I also would have hit you with my car for what you did, but that's just me. YouTube stream died? They may have got my ass. Hold on. YouTube stream died? They may have got my ass. Hold on. No, it's still going. Let me see. It was temporarily blocked. Yeah, they don't like that video. They don't like that video. Thank you for following. Stream unavailable. Let's see if it resets. Hold on. Let me see if it resets. Sometimes it does. For policy violations. More info. Policy violations. Stream unavailable. They just turbo nuke it? Let's see. It was gone. Temporarily blocked. Let's see. Nope. Stream unavailable. All right, we're ending stream on that one. No more YouTube stream. Dismiss. It happens. Got too upset. No, it's not that.